Hold on. All right, guys, it's your boy Aniki. We got Archbishop East in there. Kid Otaku said he might be swinging through. Actually, I don't even know if this is him already. Oh well. But
Oh boy,
man,
Yo.
hey, we got BG on deck.
I do it. Let's go.
Man, all right. So the Shonen Jump website is being silly, but it's available on my phone, so I'm still reading it.
I'm about to say that's why you read on the phone.
Yeah, like you got the phone in hand already. Also, I'm coming into this actually feeling some kind of way because I I read Hell's Paradise today, and Hell's Paradise today actually hit me in the chest. So I'm coming in here a little hurt.
Can't wait to catch up.
And I didn't read Chainsaw Man yet today, so I might I might die.
Oh no. This week, I think this week is a little bit of a reprieve, in a different way, of course.
I heard it was still insane though.
Oh no, it was raw. It was raw, but I'm gonna say I feel like this is the least despair of the 3 chapters we've gotten.
Okay.
That doesn't say a lot.
True.
What's up, Jason? Tom?
Hey, squad's pulling up. All right, I'm opening the chapter. I'm on the page. All right, we immediately open to the disheveled kids. So that means they probably got saved by Majestic, more than likely.
I'm just gonna take that W that we cut back. That's all I cared about.
Yep. Shoji are the heroes. You know, it's too far. I can't confirm either way. Oh boy, that seeing the destruction from this angle. Oh man, Horikoshi, what are you doing? All right, we finding some people absurd. We only survived because they didn't consider us worthy enemies. Damn.
Bro, you see, bro, this is out of a fucking horror movie, dog.
Yo, this Makia panel. This combat Makia.
Nigga, this shit is a horror movie.
And I think this is literally what we said last week too, with him using the rings to get them out of here. Because we were like, he might have taken the L to save the kids. Your decisions and actions were correct. You kids played this right. Whatever happens now, don't ever doubt that. Yeah, okay, so here's the thing, right? Like, people are always arguing about whether or not people die and like what's happening in this arc, but the dialogue is consistently being structured around the notion that this is like very much a mantle passing. So like Midnight, y'all got to really accept this. I think Majestic's going down too here.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. The
Mm.
cockering jokes can stop because he put in his work. That's all that matters.
The real painful thing is that I don't think Sun Eater lived.
That's what hurt me. I saw that because they
we was just talking about that. I feel like he may still be alive, but Fat Gum is dead.
Hey, shouldn't that sedative have kicked in by now, Shroom? Our decisions, our moves. Did we do the right thing, really? And the heroes too. Did they make the right choices? We get to see Hawks bandaged up.
I like how he put Hawks right there as like in the heroes too. Did they really make the right choices?
He's under Spag. Yeah, I could see that. I could actually see like Corey doing that. Like letting Sun Eater be like under Fat Gum's body, like Fat Gum died protecting him. But damn. Seriously, this whole nightmare, didn't we just make it all worse? Oh man. See, and okay, this is actually really good usage of Manetta's character. This is actually probably like one of the best usages of him in the entire series, actually. Mm-hmm. Because Mineta has always been the one who thought about how things can go wrong. And he's always been the one that's like been like, but we can fail, guys. And like that's always been a thing that like he's brought up. Like when you think back to the USJ, Deku was like, all right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull up, get the enemies, we're gonna take them out, so that way they can't beat All Might. And Mineta was like, dude, have you thought about like what we're doing here, like what you're saying? And so having that consistency and like now like him being right for once, or like sort of right, and that his concern, his fear, like yeah, like, but I don't think they made it all worse, because this is another one of those things where you got to remember that at the end of the day, Beast Mode Machia was still going to come out at some point, so don't
hold yourself. Oh, by the way,
and that's why Majestic told him that, because like no matter what.
Yeah. And by the way, I've been waiting for weeks because I kept forgetting to say this. Now you can finally y'all can fall off Mineta.
Man. What do you mean you fall off Mineta? What did I do?
No, not you particularly, but Aniki is one.
He's saying I got to be less mean to Mineta, and I'm saying that like Mineta gets my kindness now that when he finally and completely becomes a good person.
Because I told people Mineta calmed down ever since that it's been more and more he's calmed down, and even like when they had to go fight Machia, he wasn't the usual Mineta like, oh my god, blah blah blah, freaking out. He did what he had to do.
He got brainwashed by Nina.
Yeah, he been cooling like so everybody can fall back off this
slander. But it would have been better if he would have done it without brainwashing. But like,
I mean, that was a side joke, you know what I'm saying? So,
but all right. So also the past 2-3 weeks, did I accidentally typo? I did accidentally typo. Thank you for letting me know that, Neil.
That's why we got mods.
But real quick, I brought this up last week, I think it was, and we finally get to see what's happening with President Mike and the doctor. So let's just keep racking these up. You don't say he's really coming, huh? You nearly had us beat if not for that one slip up. Shut up. Shigaraki waking up turned everything on its head. Man, this man really out here talking shit in the cuffs too. Like, Gigantomachia is a calamity who lives and dies for his master's sake. The foot soldiers, where that hero is literally getting his arm bitten off right now by the dog.
That's native, they said.
Which is good. That's what happens when your only quirk is cultural appropriation.
That's native.
What page?
Page 8. If you look, the dog Nomu was biting into Native's arm, ripping it off.
And they're going my baby burning. I know, right? They're going my queen burning up there, still alive and kicking.
Yeah, the foot soldiers, we call them, were modeled after the big fella, because every king needs his soldiers, right? Good, strong ones. And now, with Maki on the move, total destruction is inevitable. You know what? My mute list this week was fucking clutch. It is amazing that I didn't get spoiled.
I mean, you're damn right. Why do you think I told you to get off? I told you to get off the app because it's.
I know, like you straight up sent me a message. I was like, you might want to just delete the whole app, bro. Like, Shigaraki will bring your hero saturated society crumbling down. Oh, yep. As I was finally unconscious for sure. Ian and I were talking about that last week about whether or not he's going down. Hey, Shoto. Wow, like him yelling it, but it's not a gag for once. It's kind of weird. I had to help Ryukyu and them first. Cool off with that ice. It should at least provide some comfort. Damn it. Elevate his leg and stop the bleeding with his binding cloth. Crap, it gets entangled so easily. What's with this cloth, Deku? No. Just run. No. Well. Oh, boy. This Deku panel.
Yeah, that nigga.
This Deku panel.
Oh, the Pharaoh one?
Yeah. Also, like, I wonder if this is just like style. Man, Horikoshi having like the little white line details. I can't tell. Like, are we about to get like Marie Antoinette Deku? Is he about to like go with the white hair because he just can't handle it anymore? Well, time to die. Ooh. Splort. This nigga just ripped in half, huh? That's right. I get why I was all busted up just a second ago. I had to push past my body's limits to keep moving, but now my hyper regen and quirk is back. My body shouldn't have any limits at all. What's the date today? His body. Gran Torino said he got the all-for-one quirk transplanted into him. That power is too much for his body to keep up with. completion status 75%. Stay with us, Mirko. Oh my, okay, so yeah, Mirko's still alive. You win this by staying alive and you win. Whatever. Hyper regen is still working. One touch should end this.
Yeah, y'all get ready for this.
Okay, I'm on page. I feel like when I turn this page, I'm about to see some shit.
Y'all get ready for this reaction.
All right. Woo, doggy! Let's go. Overall, the 7 users. Ah, baby. We're floated with the black whip. Up here is where I'll beat you. Oh! Yes! Deku is fucking here. Where is he?
Up there.
No, where is he?
He's up there.
Deku is here. This the shit we've been waiting on.
I'm actually very happy that it wasn't so quick and it wasn't too long.
This that shit I do like. Yes.
So yes. So
I think dying.
Yes.
I got one thing to point out about this chapter that makes me very happy. I can get everybody to shut the fuck up about Shoto being slow because he wasn't slow. Because
Let's cap.
We talked about that. Okay, yeah, you weren't here last week. I was like, nah, bro. I was like, he had to have had to get in like some combat along the way. There's no way he like just ran straight there, right? There's gonna be some interception, of course.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Ponzo, you got to get in here, man.
No, because I saw people over here. I saw people being like, "Nah, yes. Yeah, I told you. Soto's just on their level. He's way slower than them." I was like, that doesn't make a lick of fucking sense.
No, bro. Like, hold up. First off, like One Piece was great. Like, finished like great this week. This My Hero chapter is fucking bonkers.
Wait till you reach TSM.
I think I'm living my best life right now. like, dog. Nah. Okay. First off, like this float, like the way the float reveal is done, like the way that this was drawn is just like the Pharaoh madman Deku, like that. Like remember when season 4 was happening and Deku fought Overhaul and it was trending, and I was like, nah, bro, you got to look at like this terrifying like demon look in his face as Overhaul stares at him, knowing his dream's about to get shattered as he gets punched at 100% in the face. That's what this reminds me of.
The crazy part is that was the
creepy smile was really good.
Yeah,
my boy Ian.
Let's go.
Wow.
We finna have a good full house today, bro.
Oh yeah, no, bro. Like,
once BG popped up, I knew it was a wrap. Because once we get BG in this bitch,
all right. Like, and the thing is that Deku's basically using 3 quirks at once right now, and I'm here for it. I am here for it.
I definitely want to. So I was talking to East about this. This has the potential set up for not the most emotional, not the most plot relevant, not the most interesting, but the coolest MHA fight. Because think about this. You don't think that all these aerial combatants are just going to sit there and just, while they're tethered to Deku, you don't think they're going to use all their aerial capabilities to fight alongside him as Deku as the tether that keeps everyone in the air, flying around, shooting aerial and long-ranged attacks at Shigaraki, who can hit them with one touch. Like, this is going to be like, it's like they're all on bungee cords and they're all like floating in the sky fighting Shigaraki, who's also on a bungee cord because he connected to Shigaraki too. So this could be incredible, so potentially.
Here's the thing.
That's actually what I was thinking. I was kind of confused about like, how are you going to do this with all of them tied to you? They're just going to be flopping around the whole time. What are they going to do?
But no, they can all fly.
Here's the thing. Okay. I don't know if I like ever had this conversation on a stream or in a video, but like one of the things that I was like, okay, like if we ever get Deku versus Kacchan 3, There are like two things I've considered. One, Bakugo being a Nomu, but I was like, in general, that fight has to have a lot of aerial combat. One of the things I like talked about was like Sports Festival 2, if there was going to be another one, had to be like, to make it unique, a joint school sports festival, and that would involve Shiketsu if we were going to have that. So you have possibly like Bakugo versus Inasa, like to get like a crazy ass aerial combat matchup. But we're getting this in a way higher stakes scenario. Like,
yeah, the idea that Endeavor, Shoto, Bakugo are all just gonna like, because they're not gonna stay down there, so they're gonna blast themselves up. And I'm just imagining like the spread of like, because this isn't gonna be a 1v1, because the whole point of Deku is that he is a hero who literally lifts up other better and greater heroes, which is what will make him the world's greatest hero, is how he boosts up other people. But now he's literally physically carrying a team, and now they can rise above that and fight alongside him. So this isn't going to be some 1v1. So I'm expecting like a double spread where like they all like bounce up there with their aerial combat, and it's going to be great.
It's going to be like the Justice League. It's going to be like a Justice League spread where you're going to have like the explosions behind Bakugo. Like Shoto's gonna be like fucking riding a thing of ice with flames shooting out the back. Like,
and I'm calling it right now. It's been set up since joint training that Todoroki wants to learn the Flash Fire Fist, and he keeps getting punked out of doing it. So father-son Flash Fire Fist to rebuild up the idea of how far they've come, that they're fighting together and they're doing the one move that Shoto wanted to learn that is his father's. They do it together and like punch Shigaraki, and then we have all the Dabi stuff come in. So we're all caught up on the emotional investment. We're all caught up. We just get a huge high of them working together, father and son. Holy crap, using fire together. And then the tragedy comes tumbling down.
Actually, hold on. Let me.
Bonzu, by the way, I see that you're there, but I don't know if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
There you are.
Yeah,
There you
now
are.
we can. Hey,
Okay.
shout out to the
I
chat.
just wanted to say.
The chat said something real quick.
I just wanted to say, let's go! I wanted to do this, man. Damn, this chapter was hype. Wow.
I gotta say, shout out to. Oh, sorry, East. You wanted to say something earlier, didn't you?
It was a good question up here. I missed it. It was Sig said something about Bakugo. I forgot what it was. I forgot what it was. But Cameron talking about once Deku reaches 60 to 75%, the rest of the class isn't going to be able to keep up with him. That he's dwarfing the rest of the 1A.
Good.
Oh yeah.
but that's perfectly. That's perfectly fine.
I don't feel that's gonna happen until they're out of school anyway. So I don't care.
I don't think Momo's ever gonna be like, Deku, I'm gonna surpass you and fight you 1v1. Like, she doesn't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, the problem I have with that sentiment anyway is that most of these niggas, like the top three, are above most of the class anyway. So why does it matter?
Yeah, and they're not fighting each other. So
My thing is, it doesn't matter because my fault. The thing is, it literally doesn't matter. I mean, it's cool because it doesn't matter. Because in regards to this, is that Deku, see, unlike all right, I'm just sorry to call it out, but unlike Naruto, it's just simply like this. Deku has to focus on Shigaraki alone. It's like this. If Shigaraki going crazy, he has to focus on Shigaraki alone. He can't do 30 things at once. But he still got the high-end Nomus, all this other shit, and then you still got like regular PLF members that anybody can fight. Like Kaminari can fight against Shocker again. So.
Aang has to fight the Fire Lord, and everyone else has their own mission that is just as important.
That's what I was gonna say, because I'm like, I don't think it really matters in the long run in the first place about them being stronger than them, because as Ian said, they're not fighting each other. So the whole thing is, it matters if it gets to the point. It just can't get to the point where Deku and Bakugo and fucking Todoroki the only niggas think they can do shit. If that happens, that's a problem. But I don't.
Right. The issue with shonen escalation isn't necessarily that the main character scales way too high over everybody else. It's that all of the opponents don't scale with the cast. So
which makes the cast irrelevant.
Yeah, you can have an OPMC that's ridiculously far apart. Like One Punch Man does this really well. The MC is ridiculously OP, but we still get a bunch of random good fights because there's still opponents that do tier to the level of other people within the verse. So it's not just contingent.
And what's funny is what's funny.
Naruto PSSD.
Yeah, and what's funny about that is literally the same way people worry about Deku's escalation in power. Horikoshi has literally escalated the size and scale and the power of the villains. Like not only Shigaraki, but the means he has and the people he has. Have y'all not just seen Makia? Have y'all not just seen this army of hyenas killing heroes? Have y'all not just seen these regular, like above average, like, and they even said the PLF lieutenants are above your average hero.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a coincidence that there's like 18 of them. So that way
Yeah.
some of our classmates can fight them in post time skip. Because that's been my theory for a while, is that we're not going to focus on the PLF lieutenants like at all this arc. They are time skip characters for whenever we come back to the villain society, and they are more important because there's no reason to try to make us care for these lieutenants when this whole arc is about the payoff of the characters we do care about.
Also, wait.
Hi, Sayas.
Hey, say it.
Hey,
I'm just
sis.
going to mute you real quick because I still have to read the chapter.
Okay, do it.
Okay, but real quick, because I was asked about this in the chat and I want to actually answer it on the stream. Somebody asked me what emotion I thought like was used to unlock float. And the reason I'm going with sadness here is because the most defining thing towards the end of Nana's life would have been like her regrets and her sadness over the way she had to let go of Kotaro, the way she had lost her husband. Because I'm still not on board with Torino being the dad, mostly because he constantly still calls her Shimura. That's weird.
Yeah, that's getting more and more a thing that keeps happening.
Like, even because internally you would think he would be like Nana, even if he still says Shimura to everyone else. So like aside from that though, like just thinking about that, Nana's life ends in a great sad tragedy. So to me, it just would be fitting if like that's like the sadness over Gran Torino dying. Because like there's no way they're plugging that hole. Deku's already seen a mentor get a hole punched in him before, and he saw how that shit worked out.
Yeah, the precedent with Night Eye has been set that I don't think we're gonna have to worry about Gran Torino surviving. But it does make sense that you want to give him a more cathartic death than literally one panel and then we move on, which is what happened to him. He got stabbed in the stomach and we were like, I guess he's dead, and then we just didn't go back to it, which, you know, it's a story you want to actually pay off your character's death and give them something to be remembered by other than, wow, he got donutted. Well, that was Gran Torino's life.
Well, like, okay, so the thing with Gran Torino is that a lot of us already loved him or hated him, depending on how you felt, because like a lot of people were hurt when he told Shigaraki he didn't deserve to exist. But
What?
Those people are crybabies.
No, fucking
Whoa!
East. No, Charlie's like that. She's like that. She didn't like that.
Damn, who said that?
Infinity Girl. She didn't like that line.
Oh yeah. Infinity Girl did not like that. I bet because she's just Shigaraki.
But she's the ultimate Shiggy fan. So it makes sense. She was like, nah, not my man.
You know, I get it. Like some people, I know there are people who like are really big Shiggy fans. So when you insult Shiggy, they get angry.
It's the same as like the people who are like fuck Hawks. All my homies hate Hawks. It's the same vibe.
Yeah, for twice when I'm just like, no, twice deserved his end. I understand.
We don't give a fuck about all that. We don't give a fuck about all that hero shit. Fuck that nigga.
Okay, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, East.
I want that fried chicken, nigga. We don't care about that. That he did this, he did that. I don't give a fuck. What the nigga did.
He killed the guy I like.
But the other thing is like, man. Also, I swear to God, if somebody's takeaway from this chapter is Deku is still a crybaby.
I'm actually waiting for the tweets.
I'm like,
no, not the crybaby tweet, not the crybaby tweets. I'm waiting for the asshole tweet.
Yeah, even though it was set up all the way back before the arc that this would be the next one he'd get, and it's been a 4-month time period, and all I said we were trying to work towards that. But you know.
Oh yeah, no, I know it's not an asshole, but I'm waiting.
Oh, I know you know, but I was just so people on stream who might think like, well, I don't remember that getting set up, because there could be people who just don't remember that, but there'll be people who will jump the gun and just assume.
To me, I always just find that odd because I'm like, Nick, it was like literally right before the arc started that they talked about this shit.
People forget names still. It'll happen.
Hold on. Somebody called Gran Torino useless?
Yeah, that was the whole thing. When he got killed, some people were like, man, I don't know, man, it's pretty useless. I'm like, I know how to.
I know BG.
BG. We are losing you, man. I don't hear what you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, good.
Yeah, I said like, no, like when this happened, the day like he got punched the fucking like with the in the chest with the hand of God, fucking everyone was like, I'm like, I don't know, man. He was pretty useless, so it's not really that big a deal. Like,
Not like he
useless.
saved everyone like
I'm
5
like,
times.
I'm like the man who saved All Might and who saved All Might and Deku numerous times. The man who taught Deku
Present Mike.
shoot style, not shoot style. I'm full cow, and the one who's actually been putting in more work than All Might ever has we're calling him useless.
like
What?
Gran Torino disrespect is weird to me because like
Yeah.
You got to remember, like there's in Hosu he blitzed a low class Nomu. Like sure, it's a low class Nomu, but he killed
Still
it
Nomu.
But he killed it faster than Endeavor could react.
Yeah.
Like,
he's the fastest. He was the second. He's like he was touted as the fastest man in the series of it before Ida, of course.
Yeah,
my nigga.
So like, why are people so sleep, bro?
Because he's old.
That's
My favorite.
no bigotry in my manga.
Yeah, so I don't understand how you gonna hate on the blunt version of Yoda.
I think my favorite kind of hate tweets that I, or not tweets, but just like posts I was seeing whenever the spoilers were coming out is like, oh God, now just like always, Deku's gonna come in and steal the spotlight. I'm like, Deku has not been the main character for 2 years. Crybaby. Every other character has gotten more emotional and character development than him in the last 2 years because Horikoshi was like, you know what? I am gonna develop everybody else. And now that he's back in the spotlight, you're just like, oh God, the main character doing main character stuff. Oh God. Oh God.
Okay, so you know what's funny?
I gotta
something about this chapter is that it's Deku centric that I love. Specifically, Deku saying, "Up here is where I'll beat you," because for once, because you remember what Deku said, when my desire to win gets higher than my desire to save.
Start talking like Bakugo.
He's like, at this point, he just wants to beat the fuck out of Shiggy. Like
he's also got the smile.
Yeah, like
the Bakugo smile. I think
that is the Bakugo smile.
It's not an All Might smile.
Like I'm gonna beat your ass. Like come catch this real quick.
Yeah, that's a psycho smile.
Exactly, and he's got everybody attached to the broken arm too. Like Deku does not care right now.
I'm ready for it.
I got a question from Cedric J. He's asked me and I'm asking y'all. He said, How do you feel he'll try to level up Bakugo and his classmates without them being dwarfed by Deku?
So part of
they are going to get dwarfed by Deku, but they're just going to not fight the same people Deku fights.
I think there's got to be some understanding here. The only people who are going to be like keeping up with fucking Deku after this all shit is over is fucking Bakugo, Todoroki, and maybe Tokiyama.
No, and definitely Tokiyama. And but you gotta differentiate between battle people and non-battle people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm getting to that point. It's like no, it's like yeah. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter anyway because we're not, as we all mentioned earlier, they're not going to be fighting each other. So who cares about them being the same level? What matters is, are they going to be useful to the story?
Are they going to be useful to the story? Yeah.
Yeah, and the answer to that is yes, they will.
And
they've already had their own, especially after this, they all had their own arc set up anyway. Because look at it, just what just happened. They did all that work, and they ain't do shit. So they're over here like, damn, we're fucking useless. Even the villains looked at us and said, fuck these niggas, they're weak.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, let's look at like Shoji. Yeah, Shoji's buff. Shoji can pull up, but like, what is the main thing? One of the main things we always get Shoji on panel for? Scouting.
Yes.
Power scaling.
Reconnaissance.
Like, imagine like if Shoji all of a sudden can like scout like a mile away, we're not gonna act like that's hard. Like he didn't make a big improvement.
I mean,
say it's what you think.
Awesome. Awesome.
Just came in awesome.
Pretty good.
Like,
awesome.
I think I love it beginning to end. It's I mean,
this might actually be my favorite chapter of this arc.
Yeah, it might be one of my favorite, if not my favorite chapter too. It's just great.
It's not my favorite. What is it? Last week was my favorite. But, this is this is in my top 3 of this arc though.
It's top 5 for me.
This is actually might be a top 10 chapter in the series for me.
Yes.
Yeah, there's something really gripping about seeing Deku cry, not in this. Normally he cries when he's really, really happy. That's the weird thing about Deku. He doesn't really cry when he's afraid or anything. He cries. I mean, he does too, but not the way we normally see him cry. Normally he just cries when he's really, really happy. Like when All Might tells him you can be a hero too. That's when he cried like the worst. And this is just desperate tears, and it's so strong. And
Yeah, he got the snot going too.
like, he's really drawing ugly face Deku.
He's crying from
crying.
depression.
It's so strong.
He's crying for depression frustration. That was the one. Frustration, because he's frustrating right now. He's really frustrated right now with everything.
Yeah.
The other thing though about this is like, this isn't like normal when like Deku's crying and it actually like impacts what he's doing. This is like autopilot. His body is like, okay, I'm expressing my feelings.
Yeah.
But when you're paying attention to like the way Deku's standing here, like the way he's processing these events, as soon as he saw Shigaraki's body rupture, he's like, hold on, this is like,
yeah, he's still thinking, which I love.
He's like, I have a chance to beat this man's ass. I can actually do it.
That's got to be one of the funniest Shigaraki panels of him being like, "What's today's date?" Like that's just confused. That was really good pacing and payoff too. This is the humanizing thing that I was talking about, because that was the first like, oh shit moment that Shigaraki had. Where he's like, what? And you get the whole page of build up where he's like, wait, I'm a god now. I have this. Oh wait, regeneration's working. That's good. What's today's date?
It's like, because you think about it, he been beating everybody else since he woke up. He didn't have time to fucking like really process, because it's like the minute you wake up, you got a hero next to you. You gotta fade everybody.
That's what threw me off.
Process that his transformation wasn't complete. Did he actually process that?
Yeah, that's what I didn't actually expect. I actually thought he knew that it wasn't.
He knew that something went wrong. He didn't know like that he was 75%. He just knew like, okay, apparently we got attacked. Let's grab all my stuff. Then he started fighting and he felt perfect. So he probably just thought like, oh, it was
99%, right?
Yeah, the heroes came at the last second like they always do. All right, time to clean up shop. But he didn't. Yeah, he didn't know that it was this bad.
Yeah, he probably like it genuinely. When he like stood up, he was like, "Oh, I guess it's a little early," and then like he was just kind of like laughing it off or whatever, like shrugging. But he definitely didn't process that like this was a whole month early.
That it was this bad that he was just gonna explode.
because you think about it, it's like he literally had like 4 minutes, and that's like a lot. And imagine you sleeping for 3 months, mind you. You sleeping for 3 months, you wake up, you don't have any time to process. Because the minute you wake up, you got to fade a nigga next to you. You got to kill everybody that's around you.
Yeah,
then
stupid X-list is gonna kill you.
Yeah, you got like 1 minute
escape.
to talk on the phone with Makia, and then you like next thing you know, Endeavor pulling up, and you just fighting. Like I wouldn't have time to process the day either. When I feel perfectly fine.
I'm upset though that I haven't gotten to see him use barely any of his quirks though.
He's
I mean, Aizawa was in the way, so
he's probably been awake for like
why
30 minutes tops. Like,
no.
I feel like that's too long.
That's why I said tops. He's been awake 30 minutes. Like
I'd say just through off the pacing of this one, it's probably been like 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, realistically, he's been awake like 10, 15 minutes. It's like the
good old manga time.
We did it. We hit 70. Good catch, Tarn.
Let's go.
Hey.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate
y'all.
Now, before we get back to, oh, sorry, did someone else want to say something?
No, it was a joke in the chat. Somebody was like, I wasn't done cooking, was I?
I wanted to bring up this one point because East and I have discussed this, Dustin and I have discussed this, and it's the one, it's not a negative, it's a potential negative, and I want to see if you guys
hold on, cause that's going to be a long convo. So let me throw these 2 things in here real quick.
Okay, you
go ahead. Before we go off. Okay, sorry. One thing is, let me jump earlier about everybody else mattering. Somebody said in the chat, I forgot, but shout out to whoever said it. Say your name again. If you All Might dwarfed Endeavor as far as power goes, but it doesn't make Endeavor useless. Yeah. So that's one thing. When people reference, somebody said that when they were talking about how Class A being weaker than Deku, it was like All Might was stronger than Endeavor, but Endeavor still putting his own
whatever,
work.
doesn't matter, right?
Endeavor has the most cases.
Yeah, that was the conclusion we came to. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I wanted to shout somebody out because they made I never realized that point. Like they drew that. So that was a unique point they drew. The second thing is I understand what Sales was talking about, how Deku cries when he's like really happy, but not when he's angry. Because in the fact that it's when you experience something you never experienced so much for, that much bliss. Because think about how shitty his whole life has been. He experienced anger every fucking day, essentially. Like niggas is bothering you every day.
Yeah, I mean, he has often tears in his eyes when he's desperate, but it's not really crying the way he does when he's really happy.
When he's happy,
overflowing.
Yeah, because that's like emotions you never experienced for such joy, like happiness that you didn't think was possible. But he experienced despair every day.
Yeah.
All right, those are my two things because now we're gonna get into a very long conversation.
Maybe not, because we might all just agree. But
Nah, because
You want me
somebody
to just tell what I really loved about the chapter? I think there are like 3-4 different things.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's get through all the good stuff, and then we'll have this
Right,
one
right.
conversation, and then we'll jump back.
There's the Deku tears, which are just awesomely drawn. Then what I really, really liked is just that they finally mentioned that the heroes coming in might have done everything worse. I don't really agree because I think that if Shigaraki had just regularly awakened at 100%, it might have been just as bad. Like I think they would have done something big, and the destruction might be just as bad, if not worse. But from this, the way it happens here, it didn't need to happen. Like it didn't need to happen that day or that place or the way it does now. And so yeah, Mineta is completely correct that maybe they did everything worse.
I think the one thing I will say is the big mistake they made is not like just evacuating multiple cities.
Yeah, I mean they thought they could just hold it in one city. Yeah, absolutely. And then the second aspect is how something I didn't really realize before with this whole whiting out of Shigaraki's hair. When we see this little part of the story that we get more or less narrated by the Doctor. In the next panel, Shigaraki almost looks holy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I looked at it and I thought, well, that's like he looks so holy in this. He didn't really look holy before, but this is when he's.
You missed the like the angel songs to it.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I agree.
Well, okay, so that's kind of one of the things that I talked about back during MVA a lot was how a lot of the setup was very religious in nature, which is part of why this like the Church of MHA ended up being the joke and like the name of the stuff.
Yeah, that's a funny origin story.
Like it's literally based off like when you look at the way Redestro revered him and like the way like the panels have been drawn, it's always been like set up as like he's this tattered savior come to liberate and lift up everyone. So you always kind of have like the Christ parallels. That's also why you have like the stigmata and AFO. That's why you have when Alpha One during his dream sequences in the crucifixion pose. Like the parallels to the Christ holy figure, like a perverted holy figure, are very there for Shigaraki. It's one of the things I like about him.
And then I think, then of course the whole Shigaraki tears, the whole Deku tears. I'm stupid. The whole Deku tears, the stuff with his body breaking down, that was great. And then something at the beginning, at the end of the chapter, what I really really like is when Horikoshi just takes just like a second pause to just save other people. Be that majestic in the beginning with the students who just saved them, or got them to safety somewhere else. And then, of course, Deku in the end. That's just something I love to see every now and then.
Yeah, my heart's gonna stop if we get that people who died and it just says Sun Eater, Fat Gum, and that one panel was the last time we saw them.
But Fat Gum.
Oh yeah.
Who was the guy? Who was with blonde hair? Who was Tokoyami was like holding someone.
That was Hawks. Yeah, that's Hawks. He's gotten his medical treatment.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot it was Hawks. Damn.
Also,
about it.
We talked about the crippled teachers of the next generation. There's a reason why Aizawa, Hawks, and Miracle were shown this chapter.
Because they're all fucked.
They're
Not
the
bad.
heroes that are gonna.
He's a quick one. He got it. That's yes, I agree. Yeah, that I think that Horikoshi's definitely trying to dequirkify them without using the quirk erasing bullets in a sense. Where it's like Hawks.
Aizawa's still dead, so I don't
No, Aizawa's not dead.
No, like I mean, like as in his casket is made, and until that nigga get away from here, until he get away from here, he is in the casket.
I don't see him dying.
Nah, Gran Torino's gonna be fine. Endeavor's gonna be fine.
No,
gonna be fine.
No. Gran Torino needs to die. Really.
I need him to have a proper.
Yeah, I think Gran Torino will die.
Gran Torino smiled like he got the Willie D. It's a wrap.
Bruh, Torino got a hole in his look. Hawks may be burnt to a crisp, but he got his healing. Miracle just missing like a limb. You can people live with that all the time.
Yeah,
that nigga got a hole in his. That nigga got a hole in his stomach. He done. That's a wrap.
No, Gran Torino is the ace of Marineford here. Like,
yes, literally, man, literally.
Well, the difference is though he's an ace that didn't do something stupid to get the hole.
yeah.
He told the embodiment of evil that he didn't deserve to be born. Of course, he deserved it. Gosh.
I mean, yeah, he kind of
Yeah, no.
Hey,
I want you to tell me if that's the same as you're escaping and then they call your dad a bitch and you go back and fight anyway. And you get one shotted.
No worries.
You know what they say? Talk shit, get hit, bro. Like you can't.
Yeah, and Ace got hit.
Yeah, no, he got bodied. It is what it is.
No. This is Ace slander. We love the One Piece concept, but we got to make fun of Ace a little bit. I know you love Ace Silvers. I know you do.
Yo,
until you get caught up on MHA, you can't come on stream and defend him.
I don't have any. I'm going to keep quiet about Ace.
Okay. So did anyone else have anything they wanted to like rant and rave about being awesome before I talk about this one thing?
Oh well, just one thing. Since everybody else wasn't here, I want to say this anyway, since we have more people in the chat in the live chat too. Yes, I want everybody who was saying Shoto is slow, or he can't keep up with you motherfuckers to shut the fuck up now. After he finally, because everybody was like, oh no, why it take him so long to get here? He's slow. I told you. Nah.
He was being a hero and helping.
Exactly. As I've been saying, I'm like, there ain't no way in hell it took him that long to get here. It's easy. He had to have been doing something else.
Which that is good because that's the thing I was worried about with if Ida and Ochako decide to go. It's like, guys, you can't just like throw away your hero duties to protect these civilians. So I'm glad that they established that Shoto wasn't just like, well, they left, so I gotta leave too. Like he still finished what he was doing. So
yes, because he actually he has responsibility. He knows responsibility, unlike these other two motherfuckers dipped.
That is true.
I bet you Alan's shaking his ass in the hive right now. The second week in a row, I bet you he's shaking his ass again.
Of course.
Before we get into it, one last thing. Y'all can fall back on Majestic. He saved all your kids' life because I know every one of y'all niggas like Momo. Suck a dick. Y'all can start the cock ring jokes. He sacrificed his life so them kids can live.
Yeah, I have newfound respect for Majestic. I have to say, love it.
like I said. All right, Ian, it's your turn. We start
real quick before we jump in, just real quick. So we're all just in agreement that Horikoshi makes Momo's boobs way bigger each chapter because those are as big as her head now.
I wasn't staring, so I don't know.
I don't pay a lot of attention to Momo's boobs.
No, because they've grown to the size of her head. They used to not be that big.
But I have to find a panel.
It's hilarious. It's the funniest thing.
She's maturing.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it has been 3 months.
I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's been 3 months.
But they go through like real puberty now. Like they all 16 going on 17 at this point.
It's just funny because ever since the show starts, people are like, how is that girl like 16? I'm like, yeah, I think Horikoshi's dropped the act too. It's just like, all right, she's just a woman. It's fine.
Okay, I was reading some chapters. Sorry, guys, I was out of the conversation. So what are you talking about?
Nothing important. So Momo's boobs. All right.
Oh no!
Pretty much what it was.
Time out. I just want to say, because I wasn't like really like locked into the Momo's boob combo.
Yeah.
I was reading this week's Jujutsu Kaisen chapter.
Oh, I didn't read JJK. Fuck.
Fuck. I heard it was hype. I heard that Chainsaw Man and JJK was fucking brazen.
No,
and I don't know how.
Bro, Jump. Okay, look, everything I've read this week from Jump or Shueisha, whatever, it's been insane.
Yes.
Jigo Karaku was insane this week. Even though I'm like the only person that's like current on Hell's Paradise.
You gonna do me like that?
You current? Did you read it today?
Nah.
Okay then. One Piece was actually good because, bro, the Straw Hats crew finally.
I haven't read it yet.
Finally. Fuck, it's been 9 years. So
yeah.
All right. So the thing that East and I were talking about is the idea that, okay, so we have Shigaraki coming out, and all the characters, pretty much every chapter, keep bringing up, like, Shigaraki's going to bring destruction. Gigantomachia is going to bring destruction. Shigaraki will end a chapter going, I'm going to bring destruction. However, at every turn in the story, whether it makes sense or not, he keeps getting pushed back, and he keeps not being allowed to do it. So the question that we were talking about is, if Shigaraki fights back against all the heroes here, is this the moment where it needs to happen, or will it now be dragged out if then another thing comes along that keeps Shigaraki from enacting destruction? And is it getting dragged out to the point where that threat is starting to lose its effect? That's something we wanted to talk about.
So,
I mean, first and foremost, I don't have a problem with them stopping it and slowing it down, because I mean they are fighting it. That's obvious. So why would they not be able to slow him down a little? And also,
Okay.
I think we did get destruction. I mean, he basically decayed half the city and a mountain, and Gigantomachia has pretty much mowed through the entire group of heroes.
Right, but it's not been as gruesome as MVA, where you actually see innocent people dying. It's usually just like there's decay, there's some heroes, and then we cut away. And even in this chapter, we only saw a few civilians running away from Giganto, but it wasn't like MVA where you saw bodies flying around. And so what the question is whether I believe it or not, because I don't think it is to this point. But do you think it's getting to the point where the threat is starting to drop, because we haven't really seen the type of destruction that Shigaraki is promising, to where we're seeing civilians just getting wrecked and destroyed? The heroes are even getting sort of off-screened. So is that threat kind of getting diminished? And when does it need to really happen? When does Shigaraki really need to flip the tables? Or does he?
I think in the case of...
Let me take that verse.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think it's a problem at all that they haven't.
Okay.
That he hasn't gone off, because as Saya said, they're all it's like they're not calling it a war, but it is a war. Motherfuckers are getting like I would be a little bit upset if he already went off like that already, and then without any bit of resistance. I find that to be way more like immersion breaking than him just not doing it.
Just doing it.
Yeah, because like the thing is with the consistent threats stopping him each and every turn, as long as he's still up and fighting, I don't really care. The only way I could find this to be a problem is if he gets beat.
Is if he loses?
Yeah, if he loses, that'll be a problem to me.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't lose, and then that just tells me that it's going to come.
Then it was a good struggle.
Yeah, because that's the problem I have with a lot of things, that it's like what is it? It's either it goes one-sided this way, one-sided that way, one-sided this way, there's no push and pull. It's just
where there's a legit back and forth here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why this is actually a good thing to me.
Here's the thing. One of the things that I think that people have got to factor in is, one, like we said, it's only been like 10 minutes.
Yes.
So off rip, like just being like a conflict that only lasted like 10 minutes is too, like, try to focus on like in series time a bit here. This isn't like when like a series, like it's been a week.
And binge time.
But this isn't like when 50 million plots happen in a single day either, though, where like there's series where you're like, oh yeah, technically all of this happened in one day or like 2 days. So the thing, especially when the issue with Shigaraki not like doing this is because of things that are supposed to stop him. It would be insane to have like a completely structured hero society that is aware of Shigaraki's development and trying to undercut it, and somewhat doing so by like stopping him from being fully developed, and then for him to still like just wipe them as because one, the decisions need to matter. Even if the people in the story don't feel like it matters, it does matter. In the same way that people are like, well, the Gansamaki, like they didn't stop him, so like they feel like it doesn't matter.
Something's gonna come of it.
Something's more likely gonna come of it. Two, they still bought like a couple of extra seconds that got time for Majestic and them to catch up to fight Makia in the first place. So yeah, fine, Majestic and them all died, but all these heroes needed to at least try, and they were still going to be just stuck chasing him anyway. So regardless, like either they fight him there or they just spend like the rest of the day chasing him down, trying to keep up, flying on like Majestic's rings, hoping that they can like eventually get all the way here to this battle just to be late. Yeah, like that doesn't make sense. Like why would they, like at that point it's just like they don't have a good enough pursuit quirk to justify like the story going that direction. So, and people that want him to just like show up, I think people are too used to these kind of conflicts being like Madara versus the the Shinobi Alliance, where he gets to pull up and wipe out 20% of their forces
immediately.
Because everybody who's fighting here is a character that we've seen in at least 2 arcs. This is like our second. This is our second arc with Rocklock. This is the like 3rd or 4th one with Gran Torino, and like technically he's sprinkled all throughout the story.
Yeah, second with Manual.
Like, right. And like Manual got brought up earlier in the arc. He's been like in the background characters. So we know that. So all these characters on screen right now have had a story built up to them. So why would we just toss that aside?
End it. Yeah. Yeah, that's why whenever people sorry, you continue, sorry.
No, I was just making the final point.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's why whenever for example Aizawa, whenever he was given his whole like I need to keep living for the kids, and certain people were like, oh well, wouldn't it be nice for him to die there? It's like, no, you still gotta have a story there. You still gotta do more. You still gotta like have more with Aizawa. You still gotta expand upon the fact that Deku and Bakugo are here. You need to make that impactful. It's the same thing with All Might, where like if All Might dies, it can't just be like smash cut to one chapter where he talks with Shigaraki and then Shigaraki kills him. You know, like you have to have something to reestablish that investment and remind us why we care about these people. So if Shigaraki just comes out and just wins, then that's all kind of undercut and the emotion doesn't have enough time to land. However, I do understand if having Aizawa stop him makes a lot of sense, and it was really cool. Now, Deku, the protagonist, is going to try to stop him, and we're assuming the villains still win. So do you guys think a third thing pushing back Shigaraki would be too much, or do you think this is the perfect time to have that flip over?
This my time to chime in. So then on that case, I want to talk about this now since Hanaki and BG went first. So in this case, it's interesting that this is now the climax of the arc. You can already tell because the culmination of everything is the biggest point is Shigaraki and Maki meeting, right? That's when those two get together, link up. Everything has been done. Everything has been set. The whole league links up, all that. But other than narrative plot points, we've had to push this back and to set it up with this great writer. It's like, okay, I need to push this back. I need to set this up. This piece lines up with this. This lines up with this. But now everything is moving forward because at this point, nobody can stop Maki, and literally not a single person, especially in battle mode. They couldn't stop him prior to this, but now they can't stop the nigga in battle mode. Then you got Shigaraki already regained all his quirks now, so now he was beasting on these niggas without his quirks, so now he's back at even stronger than before. So Deku is gonna have his protagonist mode, but he still has everybody else on the side helping him out. But they're still not gonna be able to like. It's gonna be like a little brawl, but I think he loses this because. And the fact that somebody said in the chat, it was like, what if Shigaraki loses to Deku in this match and everybody, and then like Makia pulls up just like that. The reason that doesn't work is only because that Shigaraki already announced, I'm here to be greater than you, master. Like, you got beat by one person. I don't know how you could really be the king of darkness and stuff like that. He said that line specifically, like, I'm going to do this myself. So it's like, that would him getting stopped again just for Maki to pull up and save him, that would be undercutting. And how Shigaraki is always a parallel, he's flipped over as his own protagonist. Him saving his friends, more so what he did, is a greater point, or how much Shigaraki's be written rather than him getting saved by his friends. Especially with what he just said, like, yeah, like this is now he has all my toys, my army, these are my companions, my means to the end all of you motherfuckers. And like just his power alone, how he's been written up, set up to this point. It's just like he can't really lose that because this is the last thing we can establish that set him back. Now, as I was at the paint and nobody using no quirk, nothing, it's like this is just last straw. These niggas go at it. Makia pulls up because this fight's gonna be like 2 chapters at the very least, right? Then you got Makia already on the way. They can't stop that nigga. So the most you got is everybody else coming to pull up and help Deku and them escape because they don't even know Makia's on the way. So I know Ochiko and them are gonna at least Ida's gonna pull up to save. Or do something because they need to alert them because they don't have the comms. They're not just gonna let them be like, they're gonna pick somebody and then to be like, well, we can't evacuate all these people. Like, nah, they're gonna pull somebody else. So all the chess pieces are coming into the final move because it's gonna be checkmate and king me for this arc.
I don't know if I agree with all of this, to be honest. I think I see both ways. Of course, we're talking about destruction. I think we've already seen a lot of destruction. We will probably see a little bit more, but we have to keep in mind that something that said last week too, that we have not seen the casualties of this war at all, and we will see them in the future. And there have been some. I mean, when the hospital was destroyed, we were still in the process of evacuating the hospital, so there are definitely civilian deaths. In the comparison to the MBA battle, that's kind of, it's a little bit different because were there even actual civilians in that city? I mean, it was very much like the entire city was basically in on this cult, and this cultish behavior. So they all kind of got involved in the battle. Of course, there were a few civilian exceptions, but the entire city, there was no evacuation process whatsoever. So of course there would be a lot of civilian casualties. That's a difference. And another thing that I think that we have to keep in mind is that although there's a lot of focus on how much destruction Gigantomachia is going to bring, how much destruction Shigaraki is going to bring, there's also almost just as much focus on this is not Shigaraki as his most powerful. This is not Shigaraki as we will meet him at his most powerful. We know he's only 75%. His body isn't used to his quirks. He doesn't really know all the quirks, and he still has this voice in his head that he's just barely able to reject at this point. So there's still stuff he has to figure out where he's going to get stronger. He's just at the beginning of becoming stronger. He's not at 100%. He's
right.
Not
this isn't the end of the series.
So there's no reason to give him at this point his most destructive feat ever, because we're in Kyoto, which is in the Kyoto region. Apparently, like last chapter, we got this little geographic tidbit where we actually are. So we're in the Kyoto area, which is a pretty heavily populated area. So if we really went out destructive now, there's really no way we could ever beat that. I mean, if he comes and actually goes really, really destructive, destroying the entire area, there would be so many casualties that even in the finale, the only way to beat that is to destroy all of Tokyo, I guess. So I don't really think there needs to be this massive kind of destruction the way you seem to like it. I think, of course, there will be more destruction. Like Gigantomachia will, of course, go through these villages, and there will be loads of casualties. But I don't think we will need this massive scale, because ultimately what we have is ultimately the heroes had planned. The heroes have to surprise them, and they got actually a good start on most of these villains who were quickly. Many of them were taken down without any resilience because they just were so surprised. But now they are fighting essentially Shigaraki, Gigantomachia, and those leaders that Gigantomachia is carrying around with him. So just very few villains, and this is the entire hero society against one villain who just barely woke up, and another villain who is still stated nowhere near his strongest. So there's no reason why this shouldn't be a very, very tough fight for each party, and why there should be why one of them should get a decisive victory over the other.
Oh yeah, and don't misunderstand. I'm not one way or the other on this. This is just something I thought of and thought would be interesting to hear everyone's thought. I don't necessarily need there to be a lot of destruction, but it was a question I had, and I'm glad you brought that up of how he's still 75, and this isn't supposed to be final form Shigaraki to begin with. So yeah, I just wanted to flesh out this idea. So that's
I actually want to ask something about that. So do y'all ever think he's going to ever get to 100%?
Yes.
Yes. He's gonna get stronger. I mean, 100%, 110%, who knows? But
yes, he's gonna get stronger. Like, okay, so here's the other thing though about the destruction that I just wanted to make sure I like hit that point before we completely move past that, because Shigaraki has already made a decent chunk of wanton destruction by destroying the mountain, the hospital, all that other stuff. But then you factor in that the amount of cities that Gigantomachia is going through is going to have enough casualties and enough property damage that it's going to already sway the socio-political opinion that was already starting to move in the direction the Liberation Army wanted it to go anyway. And so what we need socio-politically and narratively is not the same as what people like want for hype. Like, yeah, hype-wise, watching Shig like level like the entire city going even further is like dope, and like that'll be really cool to see. But like you guys have stated, this is not the end game anyway. This is like the Infinity War. This is the part where he gets to show out, wild out, do a bunch of damage, but it's not supposed to be the final showcase of what he can do. That's for later. That's part of why this fight is going to be in the air. It'll partially like mitigate, like cut down on how much damage is being done to like the ground around them. And they've gone pretty high up because Deku seems to have like gone like hypersonic and shot up into the air before he did that. So I'm pretty sure they're a good couple 100 feet in the air. So they're very much trying to minimize how much like splash damage they do around to other people.
My thing is,
Yeah.
but who's
I mean-
been? But what do you mean says about like destruction? Because who's specifically talking about destruction? I'm just talking about like them winning altogether, like as in like another pushback. Because like I don't see the fight as being like completely one sided, but we know who ultimately going to take this one before Makia arrives there.
That's another thing I wanted to mention just now. That is this whole idea that because of how he's hyped up, he has to win here in a decisive way. I don't really believe that. I think that because he's set up this way with both Deku and him are still growing. Deku gets a power up, he gets a power up. They are, of course, at this point, Shigaraki is superior, but they are still very much paralleled. And then there's the entire hero society that is behind Deku, and Shigaraki essentially now with Gigantomachia and his leaders. I still think that even if it ended with a more or less a draw, where ultimately Shigaraki draws back after destroying a lot of property and killing a lot of people and destroying half the city, which he already did, I would still think that this would be a threatening first glimpse of his power. I mean, what I've seen so far, I don't need him to kill all these heroes. I mean, we went into this arc saying he has to kill all the heroes that are fighting him. I don't think that, because we are not in the finale of the show. We are, of course, this will be a massive shift, and we've already seen it. Like Mineta, who is part of the heroes, he's not just a civilian. He's part of the heroes. He's already doubting if they are doing the right thing, if it's maybe their fault what happened. So already we have a situation where even the heroes themselves are doubting if they did the right thing, and of course the civilians will think the same. Have the same doubts.
Say as we spit.
Okay. What does Ponzu think?
What do I think? Okay, right now for the situation, I would like the villains to win, because it would put what I'm waiting for My Hero Academia is the world building right now. I would just want to know how the world is in other countries, because it is something that I'm really interested in when I'm if stories are based on our world. I would I want to know how the rest of the world will act. How is the vision of the author about the whole world? Because Africa, Europa, South America doesn't act like Japan. You know, Japan is really like, even in Asia, is already special on its own. You know, so that's why I wanted to know, because if the villains wins right now, it will be known everywhere in the world normally. Allez, in my eyes, the whole world will see that Japan, everything was happening in Japan right now isn't really good. Allez, it's not like, yes, Japan needs help right now. Allez, that's my point of view of it, you know?
So you think a defeat would add to the world building and would expand the series rather than
because they really need this. Because if something happens like this right now in Japan, like they're like everything is well. I don't think that the whole world will just act like, okay, we're gonna eat our popcorn and see what happens next. I don't think so. We all know that USA was like in a period that they thought that they were like the police agent of the world. And if we can see that in MHA, in My Hero Academia, I will be glad to see it. It will be funny too, also in my eyes. But yeah, we get some interesting things thanks to vigilantes. We get visions, and I want the things to I just want the world right now in my, because they talk about society things, but yeah,
you're saying like you see more of like. Here's the thing: this arc specifically, I think, is partially designed to be a segue to see more of like what's going on with the other.
That's how I see it. This is how I see it too, because they talk about the society of it. It's about society, My Hero Academia, you know. So talking about society, but society is everywhere, you know. So in every country they have their own problems with the quirk. So it can lead what in my eyes, what can happen next is the fact that if Shigaraki wins, it can be a paradise for villains for everywhere in the world. Every villain will want a piece of it, you know. So we will have also the fight of Shigaraki to underhold his control over Japan. It can happen. It can happen because a lawless land is always a paradise for everybody, for every kind of villain, I will say. So Yeah, I'm really curious what will Ricochet do really right now, because
So
everything.
I don't know if villains would see it as a paradise necessarily, because the important thing here is that you have to be under, like, yes, you have to be strong, but you also have to be willing to take that risk of being under Shigaraki, or if you're not under Shigaraki, being a target by Shigaraki.
Yeah.
So, moreover, I think what it really does is that it paints a target on Japan, and it leads to a crackdown in some other countries, like, for example, like the US maybe getting more strict, because Japan was considered the model country thanks to All Might. So that's the other thing, is that we could get like a global shift to extremist ideology, because you would have effectively watched the country that relied on, trusted, and built up the hero system the most, and had the most success with it, completely turn into pudding. And from that perspective, you're like, maybe this isn't what I want. And then anybody who sees this, that's like an average citizen already, like if you're in the US and you're one of these countries that already has a higher crime rate, like because you're not in Japan. So like what David Shields said was like, everybody's got like a 20% crime rate, and that's in the good places. So if crime is like happening that frequently, and you see what happened in like the best country, you're like, shit. And then, especially when like the Paranormal Liberation Front ideology is going to start taking hold, and people are going to start doing more stuff to fight for themselves, this could lead to like a global meltdown in like the way that Quirk society is structured.
So
it might not, but it should create ripples throughout the globe, leading to different extremist cells, and we can figure out like what happens there.
So basically,
I don't know if I am that interested. And the thing is, the first question that we have to ask is Shiggy really so unique in the grand scheme of the global? Like we don't really know if there's any other villain or any other hero that can actually keep up with Shiggy on the world. And I think it would be, at this point, we have a rather small place. We have one country where this whole story takes place, and as long as we keep in that circle, I think the threat is believable and everything. But as soon as we go global, it's kind of it would be kind of difficult to argue that there's really nobody in the whole entire world who can't keep up with this, 25-year-old who just got his powers. And like why would it be so unique that One for All and All for One just pop up in Japan, and there's no other quirk that can keep up with it on the entire globe?
You just had the same thought as me. You had the same, even when I start reading the story, I thought to myself, we see so many quirks that have like the same kind of abilities, like finer manipulation and everything in different kind of scales. Why would nobody have another quirk like One for All and All for One?
Yeah, so, that's why I think it would be smarter to keep it inside Japan, because then you have this insular situation where you're stuck with the people who are on the island with the quirk. Maybe some who are interested in Japan, who go to Japan, who help out, but ultimately you don't have to battle the entire world. At least not at this point in the story. I think it would be too early to keep up with the entire world, because with a situation where even high school students are brought into the situation to try and help, and they still manage to survive the situation even if they are saved. It would be kind of ridiculous if it's a global threat and we still have high school students having an integral part of the story.
No. Right now you're seeing the wrong point, because right now
Fonzu, wait. Before I want to touch on this just real quick, because part of it, the youth in My Hero Academia specifically will always scale better for the most part, because of Quirk Singularity and how heading towards that. So it kind of makes sense that there might have only been like 1 or 2 or 3 like AFOs throughout history so far. The issue here is that in the generation of an Aries generation,
right,
and specifically the generation after Aries, there should be like 1 in 10 people should be an AFO.
Yes.
There's a threat of more AFOs.
Thank you, Anki, because I was actually going to touch on that fact.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, but I mean, that's technically at the same time that's not fair, because like they said, this is like AFO was other than plot, of course. AFO was just like built different. We don't know the whole history behind those 2 quirks essentially, but they're tied together by fate essentially. And that nigga has been just building up for years and years and years. But on the side of one for all, it's literally like each generation the quirks get stronger and stronger and stronger. They were weak back in the day, right? But they get stronger as time goes on. So like Aniki just said, with Aries generation, those niggas are way built different, and the generation that built even more different.
No, of course,
stronger.
younger
But like,
generations.
but then we say, okay, so but we say that about Shigaraki, just getting his power, but we didn't see anybody touching Deku when he hit 100% though, and nobody like talked about like the other people over there is like, but they escalated generations earlier and passed on these powers just like that. For the case of them, is like I understand why no other off one, because off one was ruling Japan, and nobody could really stand up to this nigga. Not even the people that had superior power than others, the other previous users. So it's like, and then the case of like scaling outside, I mean, that just depends on how you write it necessarily, because you can easily like you can cut out a couple of different countries just like, well, they don't really have good relations, or they're selfish, they don't want to get involved, and that's just political talk. Like they're just like, that's not something we have to go into. It's like, well, we don't have good relations with them, countries don't have good relations with other countries, and like it's just simple as that. So it's like they don't want to get in, we got these few allies that want to help us, and everybody else just being selfish at themselves. So it depends on how he played it.
That's not
what I mean is, I think we might at the end get into global levels, but I don't think we're at the point yet. I don't think, because I just feel like, there is Deku's generation where there will be a lot of great quirks. Then there is Aries generation where it will be crazy how many strong quirks there are. But even just in the older generations, why would there not be anybody with a strong quirk to actually make a big difference? And I feel like there's still so much to explore within Japan that we should probably keep it there until we actually leave this insular situation. I think at this point, the place it is so insular is kind of its strength, because we already have loads of characters that many of them we didn't really get time to explore that much yet.
And then we'd add more.
And we'd add more, and we wouldn't just add 2 or 3 more, we would add entire countries, new societies. And that would be a little bit much at this point, because we still haven't
I want to stay
really
in
gone
Japan.
into what the life of a regular civilian in Japan is like. Yes, we've gone into like the what the villain feels like, what maybe the parent of a hero or a hero student feels like. We have gone into what the Meta Liberation Army goes like, which is strictly speaking civilians. But an actual civilian who just has to watch this catastrophical event happening in their city, how that feels or how helpless they feel, we haven't really gone into that. We also haven't really gone into how actually agencies are structured. So there's so much we still need to get into in just Japan, and we're actually still stuck in Musuchafu in many ways. So I think it's the time to first expand to all of Japan and then maybe think global later on.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think MHA needs to like go to like outside the country. Agreed. I don't think that's like a thing that if we don't do it, the series is forever inferior, because the thing is that you can be in one country for a story.
Yeah.
I don't.
And the world building in MHA is one of its best perks, or it's one of its strongest suits, and it's just one location.
Like the thing is that you don't like nobody. It's weird to me to think of like if somebody was like Bleach didn't have enough world building because they only went to Karakura Town, Hueco Mundo, and the Solstice.
No, but it is more for this kind of
series. Wait, Panzu, wait, relax. So like, because the issue here is like, yes, there's global, like different countries do things differently. But the thing is that we also directly were told that this was modeled after the US system. Mm-hmm. So if the best country in the world modeled it after the first country system, then the variance on the system more than likely isn't that high. Mm-hmm. And so while as a concept, it's interesting if a bunch of different things are going on. So for example, if we go to like hyper-fascist, like the quirks are like super militarized, and like the military is like, don't use your quirk or I shoot you. Or like there's a country where quirks are super free to use, it's fine. But you got to think any hero society country we can go to will just be Japan, but maybe more villain attacks.
No, I just thought about different social structures, and Japan is a country with a high density of people. Like there are a lot of people living on this island, but it's also an aging population. Like there are not that many children like area around because there are not that many children, all things considered in the compared to how many people there are in the country. But I think about countries where there are much more children.
Yes.
There's just a higher child mortality rate.
This is
but the quirks would go wild because
That's what I'm saying. Like literally, more kids die realistically. Like if you go to like the child mortality rate in the U.S. is probably higher than in MHA in Japan because you would have one, triple the crime rate, so already more stuff is happening that gets kids killed. But then two, you have a higher population.
Hundreds of thousands of kids running around with nukes, essentially.
Yeah, so like, don't come to school today, fam, takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah.
Everybody has superpowers.
Yeah, so, that's for sure.
So let me touch on this fact now. So this is why it's been so, because I'm not saying like, oh, we should go around the world. What, like I said, day one stand, always number one stand. Whatever Horikoshi should do, he got it. I trust that nigga with everything. Okay, he can't fail. So I don't mind if we don't go outside.
Right.
But answer this question: what logic does it make? Explain to me in a logical sense and reason. Don't even like, not even plot convenience. Shigaraki and them fall back. For what? How long do they stay? Shigaraki doesn't have to wait till 100. Like till he goes, like they would have to rebuild go find a place, go rebuild all their equipment, and then the heroes are gonna do what? After they just lost like a good chunk of their forces, they're gonna go fight Maki again when he just and all Shigaraki's do, keep guard in full effect. What they gonna do then?
Well, next time it's gonna be the kids fighting them.
Exactly. So it's like and that's not even time. It's not even constant. So it's like if they lose, they fall back. How long? What is Shigaraki and them gonna do that? You would think, you know what? We should cut our losses. Like all the shit he's talking now, and he can back it up with himself. And then you got Maki and all his like army. So it's like, what? Like let's say they fall back right now, and it's like a draw or whatever. How long are they really gonna stay put when they have all this shit?
Well,
because you think Shigaraki just gonna go into like, how many are gonna be like, oh, you know what's a good idea? Horikoshi put Shigaraki back into like the chamber after he just came out because they just had a draw. You know how much slander that's going to happen, and then redundancy that would be if we just like, okay, well, you know what? They're going to go to this side of Japan, and they're going to do this, and Shigaraki's going to go 100%, and then Deku's going to transfer. Like, how are you structuring this after that? Because this is the fall of the Hero Society. This has been built up the entire story. Now is the time for it to collapse completely.
I think the real big issue is going to come in the fact of, well, what's going to stop them from even if they were to all retreat, what's going to stop them from just hunting these niggas down?
Exactly, because the heroes don't have the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So it's like there has to be some reason as to either why they don't get hunted down or why they stay there.
And Shigaraki still has search.
Yes.
That's the most terrifying quirk because he can see your weakness. Also, he can see you where you are. So, yeah, man.
Hopefully, it has a range.
And we don't know the range yet. We don't know. I think his range
is his line of sight.
Yes, he's allowed. So if he jumps, he can see everybody. It is yeah, man. Just to tell you, it is. That's why I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's gonna happen after this war? Because I love how everything is going right now, and from the moment I still feel the tension. And it's not a problem. It's not a problem. And if Shigaraki loses, okay, it's no problem because I trust Koei Sensei to do things right, So I don't have a problem. But if he wins, what's gonna happen next? Because you can't tell me something that Japan is getting destroyed. Cities are get run over by Gigantomachia, and other countries don't say anything. I can't believe that because you get everything like the news. So people get the news too. We get YouTube. We get everything, in this story. To show you.
I mean, to be fair,
they
can get the news all they want, but the fact is, I don't think that's going to mean anything, especially not for us in America. In America they'd look at that and be like, oh damn, that's tough. And move on.
No, but Europeans don't think that way. Europeans don't think that way. I'm Belgian, and I'm telling you, if France heard something like this, or
no. Europeans don't want to get involved in other countries' conflicts.
Also, you guys have
possibilities.
You guys have the European Union also, though. So, like, you guys have like obligations.
Yeah, no. But the thing is,
Europeans like to use their possibilities at the fullest. If they can make money for the situation there in Japan, they will do it. That's why I'm telling you.
Of course, we said money. That would be something I think we have to consider. I just want to say something we have to consider, and that is, if Japan is the model society that it is supposed to be, with All Might taking care of everything for so long. I think there's this situation that other countries have to deal with their own villains and don't really care if. I mean, now, okay, Japan has a villain going rampant. We have this every year, so maybe they don't have just this massive scale of attacks, but they will have their own villain attacks.
I mean, we know that Raven from Teen Titans exists, so they probably are fighting the devil every now and then.
Yeah, they probably have minor, not quite as big as maybe this now, but they probably have incidents like Fukuoka or Kamino every now and then, so they have to deal with their own cities.
And
that's not a joke.
I don't think it's too. I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that that if other countries saw this, they're just going to be like, "Damn, I don't know what to say. I'm not. Y'all got this." Because it's like at the end of the day, it would be like it's just. It just wouldn't make any sense to me because, like I said, there's been other crazy ass incidents, like fucking Deku City. That was pretty big. That one, not one peep.
Okay, Deku's a little different because of the fact that like that was a liberation town. But
the thing is they don't know. They don't know that. They don't know that. So to them, all it was is that a city got blinked off the face of the earth.
I'm just saying that like there was also like some propaganda influence in that with like the Liberation Army like releasing certain amounts of information. We don't know how much.
Wasn't it? I swear that was on the news, wasn't it?
It was on the news.
Yeah.
But like you also got to think like the news also said it was 20 random villains. So we don't know how much information the main news got that wasn't.
They also painted it as a heroic story of like the civilians fought back.
Yeah.
Yes. So that might have skewed interest in terms of like global news. Like, whoa.
I have to say, if you're talking about the villains, the civilians will in the future be more critic of the hero society, and then you have like this one incident where civilians fought back and the entire city got banished off the place. It's not a good track record of villains.
And it's not even just that.
Civilians.
It's not even just that. If we're going under the assumption that the villains are going to control the society, they can also control the media. So
yeah.
So exactly. I'm like, even if we went under the assumption that other countries would help, the press will not be able to get that out there anyway. Because you can't people are recording it.
But we get the information right now. The problem is if we didn't have the information right now, because we see that what's happening right now in Japan. People are like filming it on their phones.
Are they?
On their man, you see that they use their phone. You have everybody. Yes, last chapter. People are seeing their phone. People can see. People can show what's happening in their city. You really have dumb people who will stand and film everything and die in the process.
Like that girl that Bakugo and All Might had to save when she was like, "It's a winter wonderland."
That's what I was saying. No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying though. That's what I'm saying though. Wait, who was recording in last chapter?
No, not.
Well, last chapter there was the girl, like people like sitting there on their phones.
Yes.
And then like that's how they got the news report. The Machia was coming. It's like the people sitting on their phones.
Information get you get distribution of information. So
Ponzu. What you got to factor in though is that nobody in this incident is in close range, and everybody who had a phone at Deku was like in Liberation side.
And you also got to remember something else. Look at it like this: that news report was out, nobody was reacting to it, and not to mention, not only just that, like because like in the city, everybody was just walking around like when it was normal. Not to mention, they don't even know about the whole like raid. The raid is a complete secret. All the Shigaraki shit that's happening is complete like nothing to everybody else.
Yeah, but Machia happened.
But
the only thing they know about is Machia. The only thing they know about is Machia.
One of the main things. The main thing that I wanted to touch on though, like, is you also got to understand that like the other reaction that a lot of countries could just as easily have, and honestly, it would make just as much, if not more sense, is to go, Japan is lost. We need to fortify. Anybody like that's
Isolationism.
yeah, like they could
I mean,
like very
Japan has a
easily.
track record in that.
Well, like so, but that's the thing. This is what I'm saying is that like, if you see Japan go down, right? Like, I guarantee, like if if Europe saw the U.S. actually fall, like if the U.S. fell today,
Terrified.
Yes.
everybody around the world would be like, shit, like, let me just lock my door.
No Japanese allowed. No Japanese allowed.
No. I'm not saying just no. I'm not saying like they would just be like, not even for like xenophobic purposes.
I mean,
They'd
like,
just be terrified that they're next.
I mean, shit.
Yeah.
If they have Trump in America right now, they'll say no Japanese.
But once again though, so apparently everybody keep forgetting the chapter where Hawks laid out their entire plan in detail. Said they would attack all the major cities, flip it over their head, then redestro on them, or then in the midst of the chaos, redestro on PLF will come in, swoop in, and be like the political leaders of the world, and then it'd be Shigaraki and LV take over. It will be the next
all for one season.
Season again. Number 2, and All Might was talking about that. He was like, back then it was a world you couldn't even imagine how All for One was running shit back in the day. So once again, my thing is like, this has all been set up again and again to fall here. So it's like I'm saying, like I want somebody to answer the question. If it's a draw, what's keeping them from not Shigaraki going back into surgery to get more power again, and then
we just do it again,
and we just do this clash again?
By the way, just I want to talk about this. This whole, besides the point, in hindsight, it was a world you couldn't imagine. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why he's telling me to Endeavor? He should remember that, right?
No, he's talking to.
No, but he has been talking to Endeavor about the world before he became the Beast. Like everybody was afraid. There was so much fear on the street. Everybody, he was telling this to Endeavor. Endeavor was like, "Yeah, I've never heard about this. I mean, I might have been 10 years at this point, but I don't remember."
I don't think Endeavor said anything.
No, of course Endeavor said nothing. But in hindsight, I'm like, why is All Might the only one who talks about this? Why not?
Because he has
Midoriya's mother or
because he has the info of like.
Well, I mean, Endeavor. Endeavor. Actually, no. Deku's mom is actually like in her 30s, so she might not.
But All Might has like the info, like his master. All for One, like he knows like that nigga existed, and like think about it, like if I were to tell you like kids this generation wouldn't even believe or kids like 20 years from now wouldn't even believe slavery existed, how much freedom and bullshit we were doing. I'm just like I'm just making like an example. It's like stuff so long ago, like or like how the European how like other countries used to live like back in the day. It's like, nigga, you couldn't live like that. That's like a myth. It's like or like magic and shit like that.
No,
it's like a
you
myth.
What her point is that
this is not a century ago. This is living history. This is All Might is what 50, 58.
Okay, wait.
He is not 60 years old. I'm pretty sure he's under 60.
He's 56. He's supposed to be like 56.
I think the real issue is the fact of they don't know about All for One. Because he was a secret shadow leader.
No, that's not true.
Remember what All Might said about the world. Everybody was afraid. There was fear on the streets. Heroes would quickly die because they were so weak, so much so that they could only just barely give the quirk to the next user. So this seemed to suggest that there was a high mortality of heroes. There was fear during civilians. So even if they didn't know about the intricate details of One for All for One, they knew that there was danger on the street. And they knew there was a lot of strong villain attacks. They would have known this. And this would have been like 40 years ago. This is living history, and nobody talks about it but
okay.
It's not 40 years ago.
Wait, no. Stop. Guys, stop. Because Sayers is actually right. Like, straight up, he's right. This is weird. I want to talk now. So, because when All Might was 18, Endeavor was like 8. So... yeah.
Would have remembered that.
Like, there should be memories of AFO out here taking arms, having people pressed. But it is also true that this is like 40 years ago. And the way people talk about things gets very much recontextualized throughout decades, especially when you look at
Look at Martin Luther King.
Here's actually, I was going to use Martin Luther King as an example. People always talk about how Martin Luther King got shot and how that's how like, oh yeah, like he got shot and the government felt bad and finally did stuff. But what actually happened was national rioting for a week straight because one of the most important political figures was killed. 40, 50 years later, there is not a single US history textbook for children in high school or below that mentions the fact that after MLK died, there was a week of rioting.
Oh, I thought you were going to mention the fact that they talked that after he died, everybody, as soon as he died, racism at the end. Because that's how they talk about it.
But here's the thing, like that's how people talk about it. Like they talk about it like that, but then think about that. Even more importantly, they completely ignored that political change was partially tied to violence. People cut out different things in the story, and things that don't make your country look bad don't make your country look good get reduced. Let's talk like another example with US history. The Trail of Tears and a good chunk of textbooks is maybe like 2 pages long, but it's an entire process that took place over years. That was the relocation and the effectively like a genocide and relocation of multiple Native American tribes, pushing them further west, literally wiping out dozens upon probably hundreds of tribes, thousands of lives. But in the US history textbook, it's 2 pages. So the way people contextualize and frame tragedies isn't good. Like if you want people to be happy, you want to forget about that past. Everybody wanted to focus on All Might so that they're not talking about like the PTSD of back then. If anything, you could argue that one of the reasons why Endeavor is like one of the few heroes that actually try so hard is because he's 45, because he was 8 years old when AFO was out here pressing people. And now like you got heroes like Mount Lady who are like 25, 26. They were never in that era. Oh my! Always held them down.
Actually, I would really love to talk about. Like, I also kind of think about Gentle. He's like, I think he's 30, 36, 37.
He's 31.
So he would be 31. 31, sorry. So he would be born shortly after All Might came back from America. So already when this whole situation was probably calming down and All Might was slowly getting to be the symbol of peace. So he doesn't remember All for One or any of these legendary heroes, legendary villains, and even maybe the vigilantes that he's been talking about. He's been kind of glorifying it. He's been like, oh, back in the days there were these great villains and the vigilantes, and it was such a heroic time in many ways. He's glorifying. He doesn't remember this time, so I assume his parents would have told him.
Well, no, the way he expresses it is that here are some great people who are heroes here, and they're remembered. That's the point he wants to make. They're remembered for doing these things that made them memorable. And then he says the vigilante time, which is what he is, because he sees himself as a gentle criminal. He's sure. But that was the best. So obviously there were still people, because All for One didn't rule alone. He had like his myriad of guys who worked under him.
No, and what I say is that Gentle wouldn't have remembered any of the villains, or at least he wouldn't have remembered. I don't know how old the original Destro was, but he wouldn't have remembered All for One. He wouldn't have remembered him, but he does talk about him as if it's like back in the day, these great villains. So there is some stories told about him.
Right. Okay. So I want to touch on this one specifically though, because it kind of ties into like what I just said, where you can find the information on the Trail of Tears. You can look it up. You can put in the effort to research and read the biographies and all these other things. You can like go do that research. And that's what Gentle did. So he was somebody who like self-educated and effectively.
And All Might said it was like a footnote in history books. Like he said, it's there. It's just like a footnote. Yeah. It's like there was this period where everything was really sucky, but now the reign of All Might, baby. You know.
I would just love to go into how older generations now were affected by the past, even if they don't talk about it, because they would remember it.
Oh yeah, no, like
I would really love to go into this.
Talking to the old people of My Hero would actually lead to some interesting conversations, because
there's just most of the characters are in their 30s, so they're not really. But if you just got a few characters in their 50s or 60s,
yeah, we got Gran Torino, but he's told us, he remembers all that stuff.
He doesn't tell anything about anything.
Well, you're right, like, you're stepping up. But let me talk about this real quick. Shout out to Jonathan and Brandon De La Cruz. They both mentioned this. Well, they talked about how All Might was talking about how All for One really ruled the underground criminal society, but more so to the fact they both mentioned Overhaul even thought how old is that nigga again? At least 30, right?
Yeah.
No, overhaul's in his 20s too. He's 23.
22. Okay,
Pretty
but he even in the underground area where he came up with the Yakuza, he even referenced All For One as the boogeyman.
Yes.
So he is a legend. He is a legend that
specifically
comprehensive. It truly exists.
Yeah,
specific.
yeah.
No. Wait. We gotta touch on that just a little bit, because specifically what he says, the guys in my generation considered him to basically be the boogeyman or a myth.
Yes.
So specifically, he's commenting on more or less what Sayez is asking.
Yeah, his
Overhaul's
pops probably have a
generation,
different.
like the people in the 20s and 30s are the ones who are not like paying attention to AFO, who thought of him as like a myth. And because they hadn't seen him, because he had moved into the shadows, because he also wasn't always in the shadows.
Yeah, when he first popped up, he was ruling from the thing. And my thing about that is too, and let me talk about that, Aniki, since y'all let everybody go off on these tangent. So now it's time. What did I say earlier, Aniki, this week when I broke down the timeline? It's easily been since the start of this shit, the whole quirk epidemic, all that. It's easily been like damn near 200 years, because Ujiko was 178 years old. They
said
President Mike did, huh?
They say it was 120.
Or is it All For One? Because All For One was already a grown man by the time that shit happened. But obviously the quirk it had to been a couple of generations for Ujiko to make the description that, okay, as quirks go further, they'll get stronger and more crazier as it goes down the line. Because think about how early that was. Because if that's the fact, it had to be like a couple of generations down the line for All For One to come into that.
Didn't Inko say that she was like 4th generation?
Yeah, she said she was 4th generation.
Yeah. So
I don't I've actually been wondering about that statement. Do you take that to mean that quirks have only been around for 4 generations, or her family's only had quirks for 4 generations?
Okay, so it's weird because Endeavor's problem, and specifically what Ujiko says, is we started noticing problems in the 4th generation. In addition to that, Endeavor, who is around 46 and still slightly older than Inko, has problems with backlash on his quirk and could thus be classified as a 4th generation quirk user.
Yes.
Isn't he in his 40s and she's in her 30s?
No, she's out in her 40s. She's 41. I just looked
She's 41?
Okay,
Yeah.
so also remember that a generation is about 20 years.
Yes.
So Shigaraki, like being 20, would be like the starting point of Deku's generation.
Yes.
And then like 20, like generations be 20, 25 years. So like Endeavor being like 45 is like the starting point of like the 4th generation. So you look at Shigaraki's the beginning of the 5th, and Endeavor is the beginning of the, so like that's like about 25-year gaps. So you still get like 75, 100 years that at least that they were around. And before they considered, and you could also argue that this is like a quirk generation. The first generation of people that people had quirks would not have been a quirk generation, because it would have been considered an anomaly. So it probably wouldn't have been until like the 2nd or 3rd wave of people being born that we were finally like, yeah, no, this is just a thing.
And it was normalized. And so my thing, remember the timeline I broke down. So it's like, it's over. How old is Ujiko again? It's like 178, or is it 120? Because
I think it's like 120, but like regardless, the quirks have been around for about 150, 160 to 200 years.
Yeah, and then All For One was already a grown ass man when that shit popped off, and that too. So my thing was, we were talking about this.
Oh, you mean he was a grown ass man?
Yes.
Was he born with his quirk?
Well, he means when he met Ujiko and like.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm saying, so Ujiko was, by the time he met Ujiko a little bit afterwards, they were doing the whole generation stuff. Like he could see that was an actual problem. So that scales him way older than Ujiko at that point too. So it's like, this is like almost 200 years ago. And society is like, okay, they didn't have all the heroes, but the quirks get stronger. More heroes start stepping up and stuff like that. So like the society starts like, there's no All Might, but there's not as many weaklings, and not everybody's trying to fight AFO. Because yeah, he was ruling as the king and shit, but like eventually, no, he doesn't have to be the forefront of everything. He had, like he said, he had allies out there doing shit too. So it's like he's the kingpin, so he can just sit back, kick it up while, and it's like more heroes rising until we get to the point where it's oversaturated, even before like All Might. So it's rising to rising. So of course, like that's what I'm saying. Like him being the boogeyman or not is known. Like, and how Aniki was saying, like in the textbook, it's like nobody finna be talking about how this nigga was just slaughtering people in the street and people were getting like maimed and this that. And nobody's finna glorify All For One or even like hype this nigga up in the textbook.
No,
like I understand that there's some
unless you read the Super Villainy textbook.
Yeah.
No. I don't think that he was mentioned in textbook, but it was just mentioned what Deku said in the beginning of the story, that he was like that the situation of the humanity became worse because of the quirks, and if they hadn't quirks, they would already like visiting space and everything, you know. They will be already like colonizing Mars. That was the idea. That was the idea, if I remember well. So yeah. Okay. What's happening right now? Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I just let you talk.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, so I was listening to what you said, Yao, and yeah, right. Because in my eyes, All For One is like you said, a boogeyman that was known in the streets. You know, he was in the high society, the people in high position in the society knew about him, knew about his control of the underworld and everything, but they never mentioned him. But the streets people were living at the front of the dark of the underworld knew about how his control about things, you know, like he was the mafia. He was the mafia of Japan. He was the big boss of the mafia in Japan, you know. So yeah. But thinking about this, about the fourth generation and everything, because I never thought, I didn't thought about this. So the generation of Eri is like the sixth. If I remember.
Yeah, it would be 6.
That's basically like Gen 6.
I mean, I guess Gen 6 since when most people started having a quirk. I guess there are technically some few people who are already 7 or 8.
That's also why it's really annoying when people talk about how like 20% of the population is quirkless, so Deku could have been, because it's like no.
No, that's probably all 80 years old and above.
Yeah,
that's all the retired guys.
It's like you don't get it. Like it propagates, so it's like a pyramid.
Yeah.
So like...
Wait. But because if Inko is the fourth, so Deku is the fifth.
Yes.
He would have been a 5th generation quirk user if he would have been born with a 5th gen quirk.
No.
If he had a quirk, it would be a 5th, but we don't know. Maybe he has a quirk. Who knows?
Yeah, lol. I don't hope this really. So yeah, 5th, that she's the 6th, because the parents of Eri will be like in their 20s, 32. So in the generation of Chisaki. So yeah. Okay.
But parents of Eri, you mean?
Yeah, parents of Eri, yes.
Maybe a little bit older, I think. Chisaki is what? 20 what?
20.
Chisaki was like 23, 22.
He would.
So he's
like
like
parents would be a bit older, I think.
Okay.
Or like Aizawa's generation.
So
I guess.
and fourth. So okay, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's also why you can look at Overhaul as like, yeah. Okay, so Eri's like 5'6". So if you look at that as like the starter Gen 6 and put Shigaraki not necessarily like at the beginning of Gen 5, but like a couple years into it, and like Overhaul age as around like maybe like a little older than Overhaul is. So like let's say if you're 26 right now, or like 30, like let's say like 30 through 5, you're like in Gen 5. Which puts like Midnight and Eraser just on the edge, and obviously as far as
I think Mount Lady is like the oldest member of basically that generation.
And also, just because you're in that generation doesn't mean you get like a super powerful quirk still. Obviously,
no, of course.
It's just that like the odds start going up the further down the generations you are.
So it also might not mean that you don't need to be 5th generation just because you live in that generation. It might be your parents came late to the game and you're actually just 3rd generation.
Yeah.
So, and Overhaul, and when you think about like how good his quirk was, that was a byproduct of him being in this position. So
yes.
Yo. Sorry to cut y'all, but before I go read these, before we settle down and they ultimately inevitably ask us to read Chainsaw Man and whatnot and everything else, let me get the questions out that I had everybody ask.
Oh yeah.
So the first question we got up is, Okay, well, I have a question, but like the thought is kind of on point though. Fukudashi can 1v1 Makia because Wash taught him well.
Who's Fukudashi again?
Manga boy.
What's with
Who
him?
said
Sorry.
that?
Onomatopoeia boy.
Micro. All right, but on the real question is, does Shiki have a version of the warping quirk the off one used and Little Johnny shared?
I don't think so yet.
I mean, if I understand correctly, the fucking all for one version he has different quirks than the one that all for one had himself.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There's some overlap, but it's clear that
And all for one said he got the one recently.
Yeah. I think he got the warp quirk after he had already given up the original all for one. I don't think he had it with him at Kamino.
Okay, that was from Microburst. We got one from Tarn. We got two from Tarnish. The first one is, since Nana had float, what potential quirk do you think Kotaro would have had? Could he have been in here with an upgraded version of like float?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this because I've always, at first when we found out about Shigaraki being her grandson, I was like, could we look at Shigaraki and maybe then assume what quirk Nana has? But they have so different quirks that I have no idea if there's any correlation there.
I have truly no idea because...
Like, I don't know how a floating quirk could ever turn into a decaying quirk.
Well, because he's mutation. Mutations don't have anything to do with the...
Yeah, sure. But normally there's a little bit of...
No.
It has to be a mutation. That's what I mean. It's not like Bakugo where you just add his two parents together and then...
because mutations are like completely off the wall quirks. But like people like Bakugo or Todoroki are doing this combination. I don't know what the fuck you could have combined with Totoro to give him something different.
In hindsight, like Endeavor had like 4 attempts to get a good combination of quirks the way Bakugo was just on.
Yes. Also, I'm thinking about it now, and if you think about it, the reason why it took Endeavor 4 tries to get a kid like that is, have you ever seen a Punnett square?
No, I'm not sure, no.
Punnett square. It's a biology tower where it's like recessive traits and dominant traits.
Yeah.
So like think about it. It took, so you got like the AA, like the little lowercase a, lowercase a.
Yeah.
Uppercase. So
we all had like a brain blast at the same time.
So he had all the combinations.
Yeah. So he has 4 kids because it's the 4 square combination.
Okay.
Yeah, and Bakugo just hit gold on the first attempt.
Yeah.
All right, the second question, why do y'all think the regeneration quirk isn't working properly? Is the whole quirk factor shutting off or just plot convenience?
No.
Definitely not plot convenience.
It's not plot convenience. What it really comes down to is it's like how Deku overclocks and like breaks his arms and stuff. Same thing, except that because he's got regen, he wasn't noticing how much damage he was actually doing to himself. Not to mention when he was getting like hit by other people, the backlash from him exerting too much force is gonna get mixed in like mentally with the damage he's just taken from being hit.
Though I have to say something, and that is that, remember when we first met Gran Torino, and Gran Torino said, All Might had like no trouble whatsoever controlling the quirk. Like he did it like that. There was no difficulty in having to break his bones. And now we have this point where we find out for Deku, one for all is kind of, it's different. It's evolved.
Yeah.
So if Shigaraki now has similar repercussions to how Deku had, does it mean that for him, all for one also evolved?
Well, part of it is also that you're not like they've talked about before, like quirks. You're not like the body isn't supposed to just be sitting here getting a bunch of quirks.
Yeah, sure.
So like already like there's like that disadvantage. And if you think about it, one for all being like so damaging is probably partially a byproduct of the other quirks becoming active. So like regardless, if you don't have a modified body, you just aren't supposed to do that.
Which is what Shigaraki was supposed to be allowed to do if he had to hit 100%.
Yeah, and the way I see it is like when everybody play video games here and you level up your character, you get a new ability, but then you gotta level up the ability to do it, and you got a time limit, and you can't use it like that. Like if you overexert yourself, it just strains and it breaks down on you because that shit is too much for you. Like same when Endeavor overheats on Essential, like if he keep pushing himself, that's what happens. So like Shigaraki didn't have all his stuff, so he's using more because like even like Uchiko said, if he's not just quite All Might level, because that would be inhumanly possible. Like he couldn't handle like that. Like that, that's kind of like damn near impossible to be like on All Might's level, essentially. So him exerting that much force on a body that's supposed to be able to regenerate and the muscles not doing what it's supposed to do, like it was engineered to do, it kind of backlash on him.
No, sure. I just remember that Gran Torino said that All Might had no trouble whatsoever controlling the quirk. So it's not a given that just because you're given this quirk, your body is gonna explode. That's not a given. That's something that happened to Deku, and it might have been because Deku didn't just get this one quirk, but he got like 8 quirks to go with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a byproduct of it being passed and being stronger each time. That's what the way I interpreted it.
Yeah, and then I thought maybe for Shigaraki it's the same. Maybe Shigaraki now getting the quirk also means it's now stronger than it was before.
It is more because his body wasn't all for one. His quirk was never meant to be given. It was always given to take.
Yeah.
To take people's and distribute powers to others. So to make his body like a temple for All for One, he had to like get his body to a certain degree of competition, I will say. But yeah, I forgot her name. The Bunny Hero stopped it before it became 100%. So his body couldn't handle.
What is it? Don't want to cut anybody off, but I'm about to head out. So I'll see y'all next week.
Yes, that was good having you, bro. Take care of you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Now.
Oh, okay. So his body, like I said, his body, it can handle the stress of the All for One quirk right now. So yeah, there's nothing else to say. I will say.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a question. Everybody got their answers out.
Another thing I thought about this in the same realm of things is if the reason Shigaraki's body now gets these trouble because he has multiple quirks, I wonder why none of the Nomus had these trouble, because they all were kind of they were finished but they weren't settled yet. Like they should have got these 6 hours of just waiting around and letting the quirk settle, I guess. But none of them had any of these bad repercussions.
Well, I think they lost their mind is the original problem, and then they kind of refined that.
And not to mention, I think also the Nomu are already dead.
Yeah,
so, like,
it already killed them.
Yeah. So like they're a little further along, and they're actually a bit more heavily modified than Shigaraki was too. That's the other thing. So,
so everybody ready?
You have more questions, please?
Yeah,
yes.
I got 3 more. All right, one for shout out to Chubb from Mash. Mash will go. Can't ready to read the chapter, but he asks, "What do you guys think is going to happen at the mansion now that Maki is gone?"
I think we have to show it again at some point because Redestro's there.
Yeah, we need to figure out what the
rest
of they're doing.
To be honest, I have at this point very little interest in this part of the story because Redestro is fairly interesting, but he's not the most important part of the villains at this point. And there's what hero is even left there? None really that I care about implicit.
Headshot's there.
Maybe Edshot, yeah, but also I like Edshot, but he's not like the most important that I want to find out. So I would be almost alright if in the end of the day we just hear this happened there and we don't really see much of it.
I can't agree with that one. I'm trying to see that go down.
If we hear that Edshot is dead, you know that every hero of the top 5 heroes of Japan are like almost dead.
Yeah. The top 10 are gonna get a massive chip. Crust is dead. Mirko is out, I guess. Hawks is out, I guess.
Wash is dead.
Wash is probably gone.
So
who else was there?
The samurai one. We don't know if he's still alive. The samurai.
Who knows how Ryukyu will end up, right? She's also.
Yes.
Musha's over there, and Shishido, number 13.
Even I forgot his name. The dolphin one. The dolphin one. I forgot.
Gang
Orca. He already laid out. We seen that nigga.
Yeah, the nigga is like.
He's 13, right? Something like that.
He's 11. He was 10 before.
But anyway, he dropped down. He dropped down maybe to 11. Yeah, okay.
My heart's gonna sink if we lost Sun Eater and he just got that one panel.
No, he's not dead yet. Hori ain't doing him like that.
He's dead. I'm gonna cry.
Adi, to answer your question, Davi's not portraying the league. He can say all that shit he wants to, but like always, Davi was just talking shit out his ass. Also, that nigga actually cares.
The chat is calling you out, Sayas, for your not loving the mansion.
For real though,
you've been slandering it this entire time.
No, it's not like I don't like it. It's just that at this point it seems like the least interesting of the three scenes. We have Shigaraki versus Deku, Bakugo, and Deva Aizawa, whoever's still there. We have Gigantomachia versus the entirety of whatever heroes are still alive, more or less. And then we have Headshot and whoever is still left there against Redestro.
Well, actually, no. Technically, Dimension would be even more interesting than Maki because there are no more important heroes to put in front of Maki because we know he can't be stopped now that he's in battle mode. So this is just
granted, that would be like the only setting where the heroes could possibly still pull a decisive victory.
Mm-hmm.
But that aside, I don't really know if this is the most interesting part of the story.
I mean, because Maki is gonna do just running through people. Like we can watch destruction anywhere because everybody's out the paint now. It's like can't nobody just do nothing but walk in front of them and get stopped on. Because all the people that were supposed to be able to do something can't do nothing. And now they wouldn't nobody even try to fight a nigga. It'd be more just evacing. Where everybody else at the mansion would actually be throwing some hands and those are some really good matchups. Facts,
no.
Also, another small detail that I like about this chapter that I didn't mention earlier is that 100% someone tried to pull up on the heroes' camps where they've been like treating the wounded, and Tokoyami handled that.
Well, that was debris, I think, from
no.
Gigantomachia.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay, that works too. I can't tell because he's holding people, so I can't tell if he saved them or if he was like, nah, fuck that.
Well, yeah, because there's like an aerial view where you see rocks on top of the thing, and I just thought that was from Machia doing his thing, but I could be wrong.
It's one of
but I love it. These little tidbits of just heroes saving people.
Heroes. It's what I come here for. Yeah.
Speaking of heroes saving people, let's switch to the second. My next question. So again, microburst. Where the fuck is Monoma's group at they mansion or the hospital? And same with the Shiketsu and the Shiketsu kids.
Where's Monoma?
Look,
you don't know
somewhere.
They mentioned his group.
I want to know where Monoma is too. That's like one of the few things about this arc that's like bugging me. I want to know where Monoma and the Shiketsu kids are because he doesn't waste panels usually, and I need these other kids to
about him.
come back.
Where's Chainsaw Man?
Bro,
he faded.
No,
Chainsaw Man died?
Denji is in this series because he got tired of being in Chainsaw.
This is after the shit with Maki.
Now, question of questions. Can Monoma copy Shigaraki's quirks, or is it a stockpiling quirk that he can't copy?
I think it's just... No, well, he copied One for All, but he just got the base. He didn't get the quirk and the energy with it.
Yeah, so but I mean, Shigaraki's
All for One, it would be empty, probably.
So it would just...
You can do a lot with 5 minutes of All for One.
Well, if he knows how it works.
Yeah.
That nigga will break his body in 2 seconds.
That's the thing that's curious about that, because once you say that, it's like, okay, but if Monoma had All for One for 10 minutes, then stole the original All for One within that 10 minutes, because of the nature of All for One, would he be okay?
Bro.
And would he still have the quirks that he stole after he stole them?
When's Shinso gonna show up and he's gonna break free? When's the number one strongest character in My Hero gonna which we confirmed, we all agreed on it. When is he gonna come in?
Absolutely.
Yeah, when's he gonna come in and be like, don't you dare lay a rotten finger on my sensei? And then when Shigaraki goes, who? And then he goes, what? And then it's over. When's that gonna happen? That's gonna be
a bit late, isn't it? I mean, now I was already laid a finger on.
He's not. Okay, unfortunately, Shinso can't show up because he doesn't count as a Hero Corps student because he's not.
He counts as a Hero Corps student in my heart. What are you talking about?
Yes, in my heart too. But like,
wait, no, hold on. It's year 2, isn't it? Yeah, it's year 2. They already started their second year, so technically he should be in a Hero course.
Nope. I'm pretty sure we're like a week before finals.
Well, you know what? You're right.
I think we already passed finals.
I think we're like a week before finals. That's what makes this even worse. Like,
and prom's tomorrow.
This is their final exam. What you mean? This is their final exam.
Nigga.
When's prom arc start? Is that after this?
I'm just thinking just thinking right now about all the things that are happening right now in the story. We don't know where it's going to. What's going to happen next?
I know there's still so many plot threads in here.
We don't
I
have any clue.
wanted to touch on that fact too, because you know what, Aniki, you said something that was really catching when you were talking about explaining the off screen. What's the difference between off screen and off screen? How it's a war, and people just need to be like, we need to have that whole effect. When I was thinking about this in real time, we know all the stuff that these other characters don't know. Like this is so like people must say it's plot written or plot driven, but I see it more character driven because the characters affect the story more than the plot more than half the time, like their actions and their views and stuff like that. So the fact that we know more than the characters and we know Midnight in them are doing all the shit, but Aizawa don't know shit. Like
Yes.
that Maki just ran through all the kids, everybody on the way, and it's like, bro, this nigga doesn't know Midnight dead, and it's like they don't know he's dead, he don't know she's dead, they don't know this. Like, that shit is fucking crazy to me.
Okay, so one, yeah, like the thing is like that's what kind of makes it funny that like Shoto showed up first, because like Shoto shows up and it's like, all right, reinforcements.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have Uraraka, Ida, whoever pull up, like, or you're gonna see Makia coming in while they're fighting in the air, and then that's gonna. I think that's what it really comes down to, is that they're gonna see Makia coming while they're fighting in the air, and then that's when Deku's gonna be like, okay, I guess I gotta run.
Having Uraraka would be very useful now.
Yeah, she's gonna be the hero that saves heroes, I hope.
Yes.
Yeah,
also, JJ, we did talk about how Native and his quirk of cultural appropriation got fucked by the Nomu dog, as he should.
Poor guy.
Oh, no, I mean that's what happens. That's what you get for showing up. American Indians are not cosplay.
This is what his whole life amounted up to. Shaking my head, just like Exless. His entire moment, even in Overhard, he waited just to this day. Tragic.
Also, Bakugo, Shoto, and Deku are all definitely pro-tier heroes.
Yes.
At this point, this is something that I thought about bringing up last chapter, but the reality is that Deku, Bakugo, Shoto are now probably top 10 pro hero level combat-wise. Because when you look at the way like people, like there seems to be like a scaling jump once you get into like 5, 4, 3. Like Endeavor seems like a clear lead between like him and like, let's say, Ryukyu. I don't actually like see him like Ryukyu beating him, even though she's a giant dragon.
It's
like,
fucking weird. It's fucking weird.
Shout out to Flo.
Man, Flo, you're supposed to be in here.
You know, Flo, where are you, man?
Yo, this nigga found out the blue, my nigga. Go
By the way, Dobby, you know, I'm always on my Dobby watch. His stupid face in this stupid scene where he's all happy that people are dying.
Yeah, that nigga thought he was the Joker.
I don't like him.
Nigga, this man is singing Santa Claus is coming to town.
I know. So that to go to a real point though, what do you think of Toga and Spinner's Spinner actually looks like he's not so sure, and then Toga just looks done with everything. Like, ugh, I don't even want to go.
So Toga irritated because like still in a bad mood because Twice died.
Mm-hmm.
Spinner, he wants to redo society and make it better. He wasn't necessarily trying to just lead to a bunch of randoms dying. Deku was different. Deku was them killing a bunch of people who were out to kill them. This isn't the same. And like Compress, this is actually okay. So something I like about Compress is that a lot of the things that we think about him are heavily inferred.
Yeah.
The Horikoshi has done a really good job of hiding Compress's feelings and still expressing them while having him wear a mask. Because in this case, it could look like he's happy, but we don't know because it's a fucking mask. So like, is Compress in a good mood? Is he like kind of sad? Is he disappointed? We never get to know. We just know that he's looking forward right now.
It's something to go into maybe later, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, Compress is really being saved up for a really good moment. Because like, I know Horror got like some type of plan for this thing because he intentionally has not showed this face.
Yeah, he is being saved.
Why is he still here? Yeah.
And also a bonus detail that I liked in this was that one Skeptic looks very terrified, highlighting his non-combatant status. But then also Like the fact that Horikoshi went ahead and made sure to include the detail on like multiple ridges that they're in between on Makia's back.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The Makia destruction scene was really well handled. Like he really looks scary.
Yeah.
Like they did a good job of reinforcing the threat.
So we get confirmed that he get like a rock manipulation quirk on his body.
You guys got like claws?
No, it's more like rocks that he can like put rocks that he can like grow on his body to put some protection, and weapons like claws and everything. That's what I understood when I saw his.
You can, yeah, because his fingers are like, it looks like they're sticking into something. It doesn't look like those claws are coming out of his fingers.
It's more like rocks who grew from his body, like the one on his back.
I'm guessing that's like I'm guessing that's how he digs so damn fast.
Yeah, like
yeah,
and
how he like gets his nap time down because
yeah. I really think that he's like that. He might be the hero, the favorite hero, Crimson Riot. More than thinking about, more I think it's true that he's like Crimson Riot.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Let me get this last question.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do y'all think that whenever we go back to the mansion, that the kids are going to have a situation similar to the second part of their provisional license, having to juggle between saving injured heroes, civilians, and fighting off escaping PLF members? And
I hope so.
And then, this last part is not necessary because we already know the answer to that. And if so, do y'all think Gangorko is going to live long enough to see this and be proud of the kids?
No, that nigga dead.
Is he not already dead, right? I mean,
well, I thought that Gran Torino might be dead, so who knows? I'm still holding out for my guy because I really love Gangorko. I think he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah, I really like him too.
I love.
Here's a question. This is gonna be a random question. Like this is gonna seem kind of random, but as somebody like Charlie just tweeted out that like she's kind of sad that Majestic is probably dead. And how would you guys feel about whether it be like an arc we get later, or if like Bones did an OVA like side project where we got these past 3 months?
I think that's what the next movie is going to be a culmination of. I think it's going to be like little piece. You know how like with the current movies, they always try to give all of the class a moment. So I think the next movie is actually, I think Horikoshi did this on purpose. It's going to be a movie within that 4-month period. The start is going to be what everyone's doing. And then it's going to be like, oh, and then all the internships met up on this one island to fight this one villain that we'll never bring up again because it's a movie. And then maybe that'll be kind of how we get all these characters. I think that would make the most sense to me.
I was actually thinking about this one too because I just made a note about that. I was like, the fact that some people are like kind of iffy on how we jumped this much time, but in retrospect, how we didn't really need to spend that much. Because even if we did like, let's say we did Ochiko here and this person there, it would have been like, it wouldn't have been that many chapters, and the people would still been upset that, well, I wanted to see this person too, or we just seen this group, I wanted to see this group.
Or
at the same,
I want to add to that real quick. Or they would have been mad because it would have had to be like a year worth of like content covering all the students doing their internship.
Exactly. So y'all would have been like, okay, I got this character with training with him, but then I didn't get this one. To be like, man, he should did this. I was like, and it would just been extending the story past the point we don't need, because like Horikoshi really kept this shit concise and probably because I like I don't want to get too fluffed out and drawn out, and then like he burned himself out eventually. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
and he already attempted this with joint training, where he's like, all right, guys, you want to see all the side characters get time to shine, and everyone hated it. So
and that was just straight hands throwing. Like, it might not have been death, but hands are still hands. I like to see hands. So it's like, y'all niggas complain about that. What y'all think about this?
Yeah, so I think
yeah, my thing was, we wanted to see that because we wanted to see what the kids learn, right? But that would have only been relevant had they actually had fights or 1v1s, when that wasn't the purpose of this arc. It wasn't to have everybody have a 1v1 or this and the other and have a flashback about what they learned. And so that was irrelevant because more than half the students didn't do shit but throw some fucking vials and get swept away. And other people had like one moment.
What do you mean they didn't do shit? They put their all into this.
Yes.
They did great.
And we still got thousands of people dying on the street right now. But, it's all okay. You tried your best. It's okay. It's not your fault. It's not the kids' fault.
It's not like
Yeah.
No.
what are they? Look they didn't ask Gigantomachia to be a beast. Like
They didn't even ask to be here.
Like man, and the thing that like one of the things that really messes me up about this arc is I like downloaded all the chapters and I was reading the beginning again, and I was just thinking about how all the kids didn't know it was going to be a war today.
Well,
They didn't even know it was gonna be a raid. Shit.
Like none of them knew what they were even doing because you remember during it was similar to the overhaul arc where they were like, oh yeah, I'm going here this day, and then they were all like, oh, I guess we're going to the same place. Crazy. It was that again where none of them got like communication on what was happening, why they were doing it, whatever. They found out what they were doing when they got to the site.
yes.
Yeah. And last time they were like child torture, and this time they're like end of Japan. So the stakes have definitely risen for him.
I got two questions. One from me and one from Balafal. Balafal going first. Could Compress be Storm or Quirk Vials left behind?
Ooh.
What did he said? Can you repeat the question?
That
Could Compress be Storm or Quirk Vials left behind?
I mean, if he would have been at the scene, he probably would have. I don't know if he has any.
Where are we assuming he got those?
Good question. Balafal, if you hear, you can ask in the chat. I'm not sure. But I got a question. I wish BG was here. If we're blaming, everybody's blaming somebody. If we blaming one person, and this includes the commission as a sole person, if we blaming one person, whose fault is it that we in this shit right now?
Shigaraki.
No,
So all for one.
The hero side.
Okay, I hear that.
If it's somebody's fault that we all in this bullshit right now,
that it
the
would
commission
be,
counts as one person too. So like if the commission had the plan and it was their plan that messed up, or somebody fumbled
From
the
our
bag.
perspective, you mean, or from what most of the public would probably think?
Nah,
think
like
it's
your
different.
perspective, you guys specific, because everybody like to slander. Oh, he fucked up, blaming everybody hit this here and other.
Who do we blame?
One
Who do we blame?
specific hero in this entire arc, like in Hero Associates Council, one person too. Who y'all blaming? Like it's y'all fault that we in this bullshit.
Hawks, yeah. I mean, it feels wrong to just say that, but he would be like the.
He was the one who decided when he had enough information, and he thought it was a good idea to be like, don't worry, we'll totally get Shigaraki so Gigantomachia won't wake up. He should have planned for Gigantomachia not doing that.
No, the thing is, I feel really bad about saying Hawk because he's a 22-year-old kid who just tried to do the best, and he didn't make all the decisions himself. He just at the end of the day, he just did whatever people told him to do. But we don't know. The thing is, we don't really know enough characters from the Hero Association to pick somebody out there specifically to say he's to blame, because we don't really know. They are all like more or less shapeless, nameless people somewhere in the background. We don't have anybody to blame there because we don't know them.
I just mean like as far as like a plan goes and how they decide to do this.
Yeah.
Or let's say like if they was in charge and they was like how the detective, who by the way, I'm pretty sure is dead because I ain't see that nigga in a minute. If we talk about people off screen,
I have no idea what Takauchi is.
that nigga ain't found up in a minute. It's not like he could fight, but I still ain't seen that nigga in a good long minute, boy.
Hey, I love Hawks, but I blame Hawks.
Here's the thing. I blame the commission. Specifically because, Hawks might have been like, we should have enough information. But like, one person, like that was like one person's opinion. And then like y'all went,
he right.
Let's do this.
Let's not plan just in case. Like they chose to not have a liability plan.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think ultimately the Hero Association or somebody there would be at fault, but I don't really know anybody there to blame. So if I have to pick one character specifically that I know, then it would have to be Hawks, but it just feels wrong.
And to be fair, Hawks is already set up to be the fall guy. The commission told him that. So there we go. I'm just doing
you guys are literally falling for the Hero Commission's propaganda. That's messed up.
No, because we know it's just there's
Hawks said it was
nobody I
cool.
know. There's nobody I know.
Let them fall for it. Let them fall for it.
The specific question was one character, and I don't know any character in the Hero Association.
Hawks said it was fine.
Yeah, but I think with the civilization, with the civilians, I think it will be either Endeavor or Hawks. I mean,
Yeah, it's
probably. I guess if Endeavor survives, the association will probably try to push it on Hawks because he's out anyway, so they don't lose both number 1 and 2 at once.
They're losing everything anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, to minimize damage, they'd probably blame the person that is out anyway, and hope that maybe that way they can just hold on to whatever few heroes that are still left.
So question, Q&A from the Discord. How strong is Ian, and why does he no diff everybody in the stream? Damn, this is a good question. So first of all, so basically,
I love how Sayers is the one that's like, no.
Was? I didn't say anything. What?
That was me. That's my girl voice. That was me going, what?
Oh, wow.
What was the question? Sorry, I was distracted shortly.
Why is Ian the strongest? How do you guys scale Ian? Why can he no diff everybody in the stream?
Ian,
is that the Ian question or
probably the Sonic avatar?
Yeah, do I have to answer it to make myself look bad?
Well, this is for everybody else to answer.
Well, I mean, Say's already answered. You see, whenever I was young, I watched this cartoon called Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic for those in the know. Now, along the way in my journey, I noticed that when you play Super Smash Bros., you can play with Kirby, and thus Kirby Sonic Team was born, and I became an ulterior ascended being like Shigaraki. But like Shigaraki, I cannot live on my own because I am only at 75% of my max power. I need those like you guys to back me up, lift me up, because whenever I get gashes in my chest and my arms and my head, I need someone there to go, you know what, Shigaraki? You know what, Ian? That's funny. And I appreciate it. So that's my answer.
No diss the stream.
So that's my answer. Everyone else is better than me, the end.
Oh, we love you, buddy.
We love you, bro. We love you.
Tartar says,
and that's the problem. Stop it. You're giving everyone the wrong idea.
Tartar says, "Say is the one that low this everybody." High key. That's not cap. That's actually facts.
I got an advantage.
Sayas does have that low-key supervillain energy, so I could see her being behind the scenes controlling everybody. That'd be cool.
Yeah. But what y'all also don't know is that Ian has a secret ability.
Yeah, he's super fast.
So yes, no,
super fast.
But also just like Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man 3, Ian is also black.
Is Spider-Man super fast?
Oh yeah.
What y'all don't know is about meaning to tell y'all, Ian is a nigga. All right, he is certified nigga. Like,
no, is that true?
If you truly talk to Ian. But y'all don't let that voice fool you.
Gotta say, this went a different way than I expected it to, but I mean...
I just want to say, the reason he says this is because I told him one time, hey, I watched Fresh Prince as a kid.
But listen, this is where it got real, though. This is where it got real. Guess what this nigga has been watching, bro? On his own accord because he wanted to. Atlanta? This nigga has been watching Boondocks, dog.
I'm glad. Yeah.
Nobody persuaded him. Nobody was like, bro, what nigga you know finna tell somebody like, yo, you gotta watch Boondocks? No, he went on his own way. So like, damn, this is really interesting. And I vibe with this. I connect with this on another level in my bones. It's like my ancestors are telling me, this is what you need to keep. So he picked it and he re-visualized. Like, he got his fucking black, he got his African hat on right now, but I just can't see it. I was FaceTiming him earlier. He had his African rose on, his tribal rose on.
His hair became nothing after watching the Boondocks.
I'm just confused. Also, Punish, thank you.
Yo, Tartar's that's how that.
Tartar's out here. Yo, what?
Oh man, you're funny, man.
Well, I am glad though that this turned back into a happy stream, because I felt bad that I brought up a negative topic and it stayed that way forever. I was like, man, I really brought the stream down this week.
You just elevated right now.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
so Ian, what season are you on?
I'm still on season 1. I'm on like episode 15, I think.
Okay.
I learned that Huey just learned that, even if he's paranoid, that doesn't mean he's not right.
Oh shit! I think the season finale of season 1 is the one with Ruckus becoming a preacher.
Praise Santa.
That shit's so fucking funny.
Yeah, I think that's the season finale of White Jesus, where he was like, Ronald Reagan was at the gate.
That shit's so fucking funny.
I need to rewatch.
Shout out to Comedy. All right, peace.
Hey, don't have a good time, Kamzi. Don't call Ian the booty warrior. He ain't seen it ever since.
And Martin Luther King was shot and brutally injured. Then
booty warrior.
Boondocks is funny.
I see Pete. I move out the way.
I liked it better at the back of the bus. It's a white guy with a brick.
What's the name of these of the racist black guy? I forgot his name.
Uncle Ruckus.
Uncle Ruckus, no relation.
Oh my God! No, Ian. You gotta watch at least up till season 3 because they gave the Uncle Ruckus backstory and that shit is gold.
Oh no!
Nigga, who told you to do that?
I just catch you trying to be shit. Oh
man!
Nigga, who told you to get that? Who told you to touch that? He's fat the fuck out that nigga, bro. There's a reason he's shaped like how he's shaped, bro. If you got beat that bad, your eyes be bugging out your damn head too.
I think it's okay when they say it.
Yeah.
No.
They asked why do y'all think Dobby is so happy?
Because
he's silly.
Bobby don't give a fuck. He literally wanted to just like have everyone get screwed over.
Yeah.
Like,
there are no heroes and there are no living people, so that's what he wants.
Dobby is the Joker in their group, basically. Like,
and then do you want to ask? Do y'all think we'll get some kind of mini time skip 1 to 6 months after this? I'll get my brief thoughts real quick before I did. I did think that if All Might is dying for sure. He's in the casket before we did this whole time skip. That was unanimously agreed upon. He's going in the casket, but it's just like
he's gonna die a gruesome death. That we already know that he's gonna die a gruesome death. He's gonna be I think that he will be like getting destroyed step by step by Shigaraki. Like first the hand, then the foot, then the leg. Like he's gonna decay him step by step.
Yeah, basically. It was like my thing is if he don't die like this arc or in the epilogue of this arc, he died next arc because we still got to like see because I'm not sure if he's gonna when they lose, the heroes lose. I'm not sure there will be like a narration of like a chapter just explaining how the villains restructured everything and like the villains did this, past tense, Shigaraki and them did this, started with this, like a whole chapter of that, or we'll get like step by step, build up for it or whatnot. I'm not sure how we're gonna do that one, but that's all the time I have to like. I want to thank y'all for all coming to the stream. Let praise be. Hail hard.
Thanks for coming, East. You're awesome.
Oh, thank you. I can only be as awesome as you.
I am actually about to start wrapping up because we are at 2 hours and I gotta
all right,
do some
look,
stuff.
y'all,
but
y'all already know what it is. 10 out of 10. Where am I going?
All right, see you, man.
But wait, did East leave already?
Hold on, you got lucky.
Okay. Next week, real quick, I want to ask the chat while we got like 70 people here because MHA is on break next week. So I'm thinking about doing a Jujutsu Kaisen Chainsaw Man live reaction next week for a Sunday OVA. So like y'all gotta like let me know if like next week I'm doing Jujutsu Kaisen Chainsaw Man live reaction, or if we taking the week off. Like y'all gotta like let me know in the chat real quick.
Listen, this is what I do. Somebody drop the Discord link. I'll make a note right now, tagging everyone, and you go to Scripture, the hashtag Scripture channel, and it will be a yes or no. All right, I'm gonna do it when I leave. So y'all go to the Discord, vote yes or no. We taking a break, or we doing the JJKX Chainsaw Man? So make sure y'all do that.
Yep. So
all right, peace out.
In the Discord in the chat. So you don't like JJ? You know what? No, I'm not gonna argue with you about. You're allowed to not like Jujutsu Kaisen. I'd end up doing both. I wouldn't just do one. So
I would love to talk about Chainsaw Man. That would be great to get my thoughts out on that.
I mean, this is the Chainsaw Man support group because so now that East is gone. So here's the thing: East is gone, right? The other day we were talking, and he was like, "I don't know who put me on Chainsaw Man, but I gotta go fuck them up."
Yeah,
it was me.
You're like, yeah, man, I'll back you up too.
I was like, no, bro, like they suffering with you. Like you ain't gotta take it like that.
Yeah, that should be a meme that the only people who recommend Chainsaw Man are people who like they equivocate the idea of suffering alone. Just like I want other people to suffer with me.
Okay, here's the thing though. You gotta think, I've been a Chainsaw Man since the first chapter.
Oh wow. OG.
So I've been reading it since it released. Mm-hmm. So like my Chainsaw Man agenda pushing was not like
come suffer with me.
Yeah, it was like, bro, come check out this series where guys have tournaments where they kick somebody in the balls together. We'll have fun. Yeah. And
the main goal of the first 2 arcs is to touch boobs.
And then like the last 10, 15 chapters, I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I pushed this.
I didn't know it was going to get existential this quick.
My bad. So everybody seems like down for it. So yeah, I guess we're doing Chainsaw Man next week.
Yeah, I'll try to make it.
I will be there because the Chainsaw Man chapters are like torturing in one way.
Yeah, see, plus it's better to read Chainsaw Man with a group.
With the groups,
like have a support system.
Yeah, you gotta have a support system.
Because you're your own. You're thinking to yourself, "Shit, what did I just read?" Even just seeing dogs, you're like thinking to yourself,
"Exactly."
No, no dogs, please.
Like, so yeah. All right, guys. Let's give our Ian. Let's have final thoughts on the chapter.
Yeah, another really cool chapter. Like I said, how we discussed, there are some things that I was a bit uneasy about going in with the future of the series. Not the series, but just kind of the threat of Shigaraki. However, talking to you guys has helped me kind of put a little more in perspective. And I think the week-to-week experience with all these breaks, too, that can also hurt a lot of that can make it feel like it's going on longer than it is. So I'm definitely looking more forward to what's going to happen than I was coming in here. And not that it was that low anyway. I love MHA GOAT. Love that Deku's back in the spotlight. That's my son. Let's get some emotional Deku moments. Lose the arm.
Yeah. Replace that whole black whip. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing. Like that final panel, like where most of his left arm is black whip.
Yes.
Very cool.
Just saying, I've been saying he's going to lose it and replace that arm with black whip for a while now. So
let's do it.
Guys, even have another, he still have 2 arms. Allez.
Ponzu, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Great chapter. I got a good talk coming here with you guys because I needed to, because I was thinking to myself after reading, okay, where is the arc going right now, you know? And the fact that you were here talking, answering questions, it just makes me easy to feel that I'm not the only one who's thinking of the whole situation of the arc. But yeah, 10 on 10 this week. So yeah, we hoping that Kohei Sensei do the same thing for the next chapter. So till next time, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Always an honor. Say it. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I said it before. I really like this chapter. This is probably one of my favorite chapters. It was just very good from the beginning to end. Mm-hmm. Probably my favorite non-Endeavor chapter.
There you go.
I haven't talked about Endeavor all day, so I kind of need to bring this in.
Very high praise.
We need to bite that pillow. The pillow for
that's the highest praise that Sayas can give. It's my favorite not Endeavor chapter. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming through. I enjoyed this chapter a lot. This probably is a solid 10 for me. The flow the Shigaraki like art, the fact that Deku was like, nah, I gotta box him. Like what this is setting up for, which is weird. This actually technically could be argued as a setup chapter. It's just that it has really good payoff in the float reveal and the Makia reveal. So there's a really good balance of reward plus investment in this chapter.
Yeah.
That I really just appreciate. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming through. I'm about to wrap up the stream. All right. And that is a wrap.